St. Lucie, Florida. Chris.
Roz, Jim, thank you. Not that 47 is all that old, but by active baseball standards, it's pretty much up there. But we'll hear from that gentleman in just a second. Today, Jim, like you said, the full squad out on the field for the first time. And just like last year, manager Willie Randolph has his guys out here for 4 hours. Is this spring training or basic training? I don't care what age you are. 4 hours, that's a long time for any player, young or old. One of the Mets' offseason acquisitions, Carlos Delgado, a huge hit today. The Mets' young at heart and strong at the plate, Beltran, Floyd, and the new number 21.
A great group of guys, great talent, so everybody's getting along great, good energy in the clubhouse, so it's good to be here.
At the other end of the age spectrum, Julio Franco, 47 and still in the big leagues. Are you surprised at all that year after year, the older you get, the more teams are still interested in you?
Not surprised only because I'm not doing this because I'm this great, missing link or the freak of nature. I'm doing this because my Lord and Savior has given me the opportunity and the talent and the ability to continue playing.
Franco's still able to contribute, and he should fill a role on this year's team.
Well, I'm excited about it, and then people still have confidence in me, and a ball club like this is rebuilding and is looking to win the World Series, and to be part of it, it's outstanding.
That's a modern miracle right there. I just see him, and that's amazing. I mean, I'm going to be, I'm 36, going to be 37 on opening day. People are telling me I'm getting old, and I'm thinking 48. He's a freak of nature.
The fans recognize age is relative, and every team needs a father figure. Julio Franco was here a couple seconds ago, 47 years old. Can I ask you how old you are?
50.
You're 50. Could you play Major League Baseball 3 years ago, do you think?
Not a prayer. Not a prayer.
Can I ask how old you are?
45.
Could you play Major League Baseball at 45, let alone 47?
Not a lick. Nothing. I can't even play Little League Baseball at 45.
I'll second that emotion. Julio Franco, he's a freak of nature, but he's going to fill a role on this team. It's really an incredible story. Coming up in about a half hour during the 6th, we will have Jose Reyes live with us, and we'll talk more about the 4-hour first day of full squad working out here in Port St. Lucie. That's coming up at about 6:20. Guys, let's go back to you.
I'm a little offended by this 47 freak of nature thing all lumped together.
No. 47 freak of nature and
baseball.
still playing Major League Baseball. You're doing just fine back there, Jim.
Okay, Chris. Thank you. See you again at 6.
Just like last year, Willie Randolph on the very first day of full squad workouts has his guys out here for 4 hours. Like you will soon hear a lot of the players when we interviewed them still huffing and puffing, getting their wind back. Yesterday we showed you the Yankees lineup. Today we take you through the Mets position by position.
We got a lot of work done today. We got a lot of chance to hit. We got some running in at the end. I mean, this is what we come here for, to get ready.
The 06 Mets should be stocked with talent. Big bats like Floyd, Beltran, and Delgado.
This ball club has great chances for us to accomplish our goal this year. I think what we're looking forward is to win our division. I think with the kind of talent that we have, we get the potential to do it.
Around the horn for the Mets, catching Paul LaDuca. At first base, the brand new cleanup hitter Carlos Delgado. Second base is a question mark, but you have to give the edge to Brett Boone.
I've played at a high level and an all-star level, and now I need to reprove myself.
Jose Reyes at short. David Wright at third. In left, Cliff Floyd.
We can't focus on one guy that's going to take us to the promised land. We do have what we need to get over the hump.
Center fielder Carlos Beltran. And in right field, a battle between Xavier Nady and Victor Diaz. And one guy who definitely will not have to fight for a position is shortstop Jose Reyes, who's kind enough to join us live right now. Jose, let me just ask you about this. First day of practice, 4 hours. You were doing a little light jogging with Beltran, Delgado, yourself. You were looking really fast next to those guys. A little tired today?
Was a little tired because it was the first day. We spent like 4 hours, like you say, but everybody is fine, so we can wait for everybody together. And we did it today.
You got everybody here. How much better is this team this year than last year?
It's way better. I mean, that we got Carlos Delgado now in first base, and we got Billy Wagner, Paul LaDuca. So it's gonna be a real exciting season for us.
How do you feel? I mean, last year you lead the National League with 60 stolen bases. You are a speedster. Everybody knows that. But how do you build on that? I mean, you're the kind of the guy they look to get on base and get to third quickly.
Oh yeah, that's the most important thing this year for me. I had to get in base the most possible. So because I got Carlos Beltran behind me, Cliff Floyd, David Wright, Carlos Delgado. So that's the most important thing, getting base for me.
Everybody loves watching you round second when you hit one of those 17 triples last season. What are you thinking when you're rounding second, you're looking over your shoulder heading towards third?
I mean, I say I go to third base no matter what happens.
And final question for you. You've got this season upcoming. How do you, I guess, build on last season? And B, who do you like at second base right now? Do you like Brett Boone, Kaz Matsui? You have a preference?
No, it's no matter for me. Whatever they put in second base, I'm going to play. So I don't got preference with nobody, so I play with anybody.
Jose, thanks so much. Best of luck this season. We appreciate you taking the time. Jose Reyes, starting shortstop for the New York Mets. Now let's talk about those Yankees over in Tampa real quickly. The boss, George Steinbrenner, creating quite a stir again yesterday, says, hey, it's a done deal. The Yanks are going to win their 27th World Championship. Today, we caught up with Derek Jeter to ask his response.
He expects us to win every year. So it's I don't know how you can really say it's more expectations on us this season, because every year the bottom line is to win a championship.
The Knicks are now 15-38, but at least they spend like world champions. As you know, yesterday they completed a deal with Orlando to acquire Steve Francis, but Trevor Ariza still hasn't passed his physical, so Francis was not at practice today. A quick Olympic note for you, Sasha Cohen. She fell twice today, finishes second, takes home the silver. Kimmy Meisner, sixth. Emily Hughes from Long Island finishes seventh. That's all from the Mets. Here in Port St. Lucie, I'm Chris Wragge. I'll see you guys later on tomorrow, but I'll see you at 11 for you back at home, guys.
Okay, great. Have a nice evening. Until then, thank you, Chris.
All right, let's check in with Jim right now, see what's coming up tonight on the news at 11. Jim.
Maurice, tonight at 11, it's going to be a new morning in Baghdad, and we will have the latest on the daytime curfew being enforced to try to stop the rioting. Also, is that new 5-blade razor worth the extra cash? CBS 2 puts the new invention to the test to see if the results are a close shave. And Jess Cagle has his review of the Pajama Game now on Broadway. So join us tonight for CBS 2 News at 11. Dana, Maurice.
Thank you, Jim. That's your man, right? Harry Connick.
Yeah.
What about Jim?
Well, everybody is actually. Yeah.
All right.
He is making his Broadway stage debut, Harry Connick Jr. in the Pajama Game. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dana Tyler.
I'm Maurice Dubois. The CBS Evening News is next.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
We're signing off for now, but don't forget, CBS 2 is always on at WCBSTV.com.
Thank you very much. The Mets have brought in some experienced veterans. Yesterday, we introduced you to 47-year-old Julio Franco. Today, it's 36-year-old Brett Boone, a guy who's fighting for the second base job on this team, and he's also fighting off Father Time.
It's a little bit of a weird spring training for me. You know, I haven't been in this position before where I'm out here vying for a job. But, you know, I've played at a high level, at an all-star level, and now I need to reprove myself.
Brett Boone, a three-time all-star, a second baseman who in 2001 hit .331 with 37 home runs and 141 RBI. In 03, 35 more homers. Now he's a Met.
I'm up for the challenge. I prepared as hard as I could this winter. I'm going to go lay it on the line and see what happens.
Kaz Matsui, the returning starter, has never been given the comfort of job security. Boone was invited to camp for a reason.
It seems like the other day I was 22 years old and everybody was calling me the kid. And I was looking at all these older players that have played 10 and 15 years. And now it's kind of reversed, and it's kind of strange for me to still think I'm one of the older guys now.
Brett's brother Aaron made his mark in New York sports history.
Boone, a hero in Game 7.
At 36, Brett would like his shot, even though he already stands out. The blonde hair, is that something new? Is that something
no, I've always had blonde, but it's more been highlights. Now I kind of went platinum, just something a little different, you know, spice it up a little bit. I couldn't come with my natural color.
And who can these days, right?
I've had it for 5 years, so I figured I'll keep it. I'll just make it a little blonder than normal.
And aren't we all a little blonder than normal these days, guys? We'll have Paul LaDuca, the starting catcher of the Mets, coming up. He'll join me live at 6 o'clock. You know, I've thrown you that little softball. Go ahead, take your shots.
Yours is all from the sun, right, Chris? All natural. Absolutely. You know, Roz said he looks a little like, what, Freddie Prinze from...
from Scooby-Doo. Yeah. I watch those movies. But he does. If you've ever... You'll never see the Scooby-Doo movies.
I think the guys on the team are calling him Madonna.
Stop. And can we just talk about your tan? We've decided to have a soul meter. We're going to show you when you arrived. You were a little pasty, but now you are golden brown and looking good.
When are you
coming
what do you
back
guys expect
me to do? I'm out here watching baseball day. You want me to be under the cover over the umbrella or what?
Chris, we don't want you to do a thing. You look good.
When is the trip home, Chris? Are you ever coming back?
I will be back first thing Monday morning.
All right.
Okay. Be prepared to be teased.
All right.
That's what he says.
See you then. I miss you guys.
We miss you too.
See you at 6.
I feel about that. Pedro Martinez is inching closer to a return to the mound as he deals with his toe injury. The Mets ace threw 32 pitches off the slope of the mound today, but still no contact with the rubber. This is the most Martinez has done since the end of last season. He continues to tinker with his cleats as he tries to find a solution for the pain. Pedro says he will be ready for the season opener April 3rd.
I'm fully expecting that, and I can't think any other way. As far as I'm concerned, I believe I'm going to be there opening day unless something goes wrong. This pair of shoes that I have, the cleat removed a little bit further down, and it feels more comfortable. So that's a big step. Knowing that the damage area on the sesame bones, it's a little bit relief.
Mets tickets go on sale tomorrow morning at Shea Stadium. The ticket windows open at 9. Members of the '86 championship team will be on hand.
And 16 other Negro League and pre-Negro League players to the Baseball Hall of Fame. They will all be inducted on July 30th in Cooperstown. Spring training with the Mets. Cliff Floyd, year 4 as a Met, and Cliffy looking to provide some of the new Mets with some New York knowledge. Guys like Delgado and Wagner.
It is not only opening day for the New York Mets, it's also opening day for a brand new era in Mets television. We welcome you to Sportsnet New York, your home for 125 Mets baseball games during this regular season. Sportsnet New York, your home for the Mets and for everything New York sports.
Welcome to New York. Don't bother with a map. Let us show you around. We've got it all in the Big Apple. The Yankee Rose, concrete canyons, a field of dreams. But if you're looking for the heart of the city, look no further than our sleeves. That's where we wear it. We are New York. We have a voice, and we raise it. Especially when there's a game to be played. When it comes to sports, our voices become roars. We demand your best. And if we don't get it, we'll boo you till it hurts. But when you show us grit, we'll love you like a son. It's tough love, and it's what makes us so great. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a Yankee or a Met, a Giant or a Jet. We are all the same. We grew up on the same streets, took the same subways, and shot at the same hoop. We are New Yorkers. And this is our new home, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week HD studio, right in the heart of Manhattan.
Roll white, carries my cue. Take 3, music please.
Home of the Mets, Jets, and all things New York sports. If you've ever shouted at an ump, or hugged a total stranger in a bar after a big win, you are welcome here. We will bring you New York sports, the New York way. We are your new voice, Big Apple. Sportsnet New York. Welcome home.
Great sports writer Tom Boswell once said that time begins on opening day. It's a fresh slate, a clean season, and a time of optimism when the realities of summer and fall are still far away. Fans from far and wide have come to Shea Stadium in a year of great optimism for the New York Mets as the 2006 season gets underway as the Mets take on the Washington Nationals at Shea Stadium. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium in New York. Gary Cohan and Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets open the 2006 season against the Washington Nationals. And we're very pleased to welcome you to Sportsnet New York, a new era in Mets television. And Keith, opening day is such a great time for everybody. It's a time of butterflies, but a time of, as we said, a blank slate.
Absolutely, and the Mets made a lot of moves in the off-season. Omar Minaya answered all the needs. Billy Wagner, of course, is the closer, bringing in Carlos Delgado, plus the fresh young talent, the young kids that were here from last year's ball club. I'm optimistic about this club.
And especially the offense. This is a Mets team with a new 100 RBI guy in the middle of the lineup that should be able to score runs.
Well, I love Carlos Delgado, of course. He's a tremendous hitter, tremendous power hitter, an average hitter. But the balance of the lineup you see in the opening day lineup tonight with the left, right, in that middle, it makes it very difficult for the opposing manager to make moves.
As far as the pitching is concerned, the bullpen is beefed up, but there are certainly questions regarding the Mets' starting rotation.
Well, it's the starting rotation, of course. Victor Zambrano tweaked his hamstring. He will probably throw on Sunday. Pedro, of course, in the foot. He said it's okay. But you got Tom Glavine going on opening day, future Hall of Famer, and this is his 7th opening day start.
275 wins under his belt. His 4th season as a Met, his 3rd opening day start as a Met. As for the defense, that's always a big part of the championship ball club. You've got 3 guys on that infield under 24 years of age.
Absolutely. That left side's pretty inexpensive, too, of course, in David Wright and Jose Reyes. But the big surprise was Anderson Hernandez. He won the job at second base in spring training, took it from Jeff Keppinger. He's a real shortstop by trade. He played a spectacular defensive second base, and that's why he won the job.
Now, the opposition today, the Washington Nationals, in their 2nd season in Washington after moving from Montreal. This is a team that went crazy last season, the beginning of the year, winning a lot of one-run games and, in fact, leading the division for a long time before coming down to reality of the second half.
Well, their second half absolutely kind of fell apart for them. Everybody was waiting for the bubble to burst. But they made some moves. They brought in Alfonso Soriano. He's out in left field. He's not happy. But they needed their problem last year was their offense. Soriano's in the middle of the lineup to add some punch.
Well, it's been 20 years since a Mets championship. The last time was in 1986, and Keith was a big part of that as Jesse Orozco threw the final pitch to Marty Barrett and celebrated in style. And there is my partner.
Yes, sir. That was a great time.
20 years ago, and you wonder sometimes these things run in cycles. The Mets have certainly put together a team that's capable of contending in 2006. Right now, we're going to send it to the public address announcer, Alex Anthony, as the Mets get set for the first pitch of the 2006 season.
The first pitch of the 2006 New York Mets season. Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to Diamond Vision in left field. Throughout the 2006 season, the New York Mets are proud to commemorate the 20th anniversary of one of the most magical seasons in New York sports history.
He struck him out! Struck him out! The Mets have won the World Series! And they're jamming and crowding all over Jesse Orozco, the dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Orozco and Gary Carter. Jesse, it's your pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for Jesse Orozco and Gary Carter.
A successful first pitch, just as they had a successful last pitch 20 years ago. The Mets and the Nationals, opening day 2006, coming up. And away we go. 2006 season set to get underway. Tom Glavine making the opening day start with Pedro Martinez's spring schedule because of his toe precluding it. Gary Cohan and Keith Hernandez with you here at Shea. The temperature in the mid-50s and little light rain falls intermittently, but it looks like no rain is falling just at the moment as we get set for baseball. And certainly in the pantheon of opening day weather, this is not too bad. Here's the Rico starting lineup for the Nationals that will face Glavine. Brandon Watson, a surprise, beat out Ryan Church for the center field job. Jose Vidro and Jose Guillen hoping to be healthy this year. Nick Johnson, who has had an injury-plagued career, will get on base more than 40% of the time. The big addition, Soriano, and the rookie Zimmerman, followed by Clayton Schneider and Livan Hernandez.
And there's Tom Glavine's numbers for 2005, his 7th opening day start. His 3rd as a Met.
And he hopes it goes better than his last opening day start at Shea. Brandon Watson takes outside. That was his first game as a Met. Faced the Cubs here at Shea, and it was a 15-2 debacle. However, the next season in 2004, Glavine went down to Atlanta, faced his old mates on opening day, and beat them 7-2. Last year, the opening day assignment went to Pedro, but with him unable to go, it falls to Glavine again. And Watson takes a strike 1-1.
Well, as you said, Watson won the job, Gary. Beat out Ryan Church, who had a fine season last year for Washington.
It'll take us 10 years to stop doing that. 1-1 to Watson, lifted to center field. Carlos Beltran right there waiting for it. And there's the first out of the 2006 season as Watson flies to Beltran in center. So one away.
Well, the Jeep defense for the Mets. We got Anderson Hernandez at second base. 5 games at second base in 2005. He won the job in spring training. You see the rest of the outfield: Floyd, Beltran, Nady, the infield, Delgado, Reyes, Wright, and behind the plate, Loduca.
And there's Anderson Hernandez, who cut his locks a few days before the season as he got ready for his first opening day start as Jose Vidro takes a strike. Vidro back healthy. Vidro's been around forever, but he's only 31 years old, and if that knee is healthy, he's one of the best switch hitters around. Glavine misses away with the changeup 1-1.
We had right knee surgery last year, then had complications, tore his tendon in his left ankle. He's diminished as a player due to injury.
And Vidro swings at the fastball and fouls it off 1-2.
And of course, that's one of the guys. There's Mr. Guillen there in the on-deck circle, the right fielder. The fact that Soriano came over here by trade and a second baseman, had to move to left field for Vidro, caused a lot of controversy in spring.
Glavine ahead 1-2, and he misses with the changeup 2-2. Glavine working away to Vidro. One of the reasons Tommy had such success the second half of last year for Willie Randolph was the fact that he changed his pitching pattern. And a swing and a miss, and he gets it with the changeup. So Glavine gets Vidro swinging. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, vintage Glavine here. The catcher setting up inside, and it's a changeup with the catcher surprisingly set up inside. And Vidro fooled out in front, and that's happened a million times over Glavine's career. As you see, the ball right down the middle, but the change of pace fooled Vidro.
So here's Jose Guillen, who had a terrific year for the Nationals last year, and he takes a strike. Guillen, however, played the second half of last season with a bum left shoulder, had it operated on in November. And Glavine misses away 1-1.
Guillen had 10 outfield assists last season. Also was hit by 19 pitches. Felt his pitchers weren't sticking up for him and defending him. Temperamental type of guy.
Glavine keeping it away. He had 24 home runs last year, Guillen did. 21 of them were hit on the road. And I think that really is something that's always going to concern the Nationals. They play in a ballpark where it's very hard to score. They've tried to upgrade their offense this year, but in that ballpark, pitching is probably going to win you most of your games.
And it'll be very interesting, Gary, to follow Alfonso Soriano's power outage here, his output in that new ballpark.
Nick Johnson waiting on deck, but Glavine trying to negotiate a 1-2-3 first inning, and the crowd gets itself revved up. 2-2 to Guillen, and he comes inside for the first time and misses 3-2.
Well, this is something that Glavine did last year in the second half that turned his season around, was he threw more inside and mixed in his curveball more than he had in the past.
Payoff from Glavine. Looped over short. In comes Floyd. And Glavine has himself a perfect first inning of the 2006 season. The Nationals go down 1-2-3. Glavine gets it done in the first. We go to the bottom of the first inning here at Shea Stadium. Fans still making their way in. And the rain right now is holding off. It's a breezy day in the ballpark, and one of the great workhorses in baseball, Livan Hernandez, takes the mound for the Washington Nationals. Here's the Chevrolet Mets lineup that he'll face. Jose Reyes leading off. Paul Lo Duca inserted in the number 2 hole. Then Beltran, Delgado, Wright hitting 5th, and Floyd 6th, something we didn't see a lot this spring. And then Nady, Hernandez, and Glavine.
And on the mound, the veteran Livan Hernandez. Says he's 31 years old. Your guess is as good as mine. There's his record last year. This is his 6th opening day start. 10-10 lifetime against the Mets with a .452 earned run average in 28 starts.
And the Mets beat him up pretty good last year. As you see Glavine sitting next to Rick Peterson. Jose Reyes, first man up for the Mets, and he takes a changeup for a strike. Reyes had an unbelievable spring training. He had .531 in the spring and even drew a bunch of walks in the last few games. And patiently takes another changeup, 1-1.
Well, you can see right now what Livan's doing to Reyes. They're saying, okay, they're nibbling at him, seeing if he will swing at the bad pitches.
Again, he goes off speed. 3 in a row, and it's 2-1.
Now, Livan Hernandez had some right knee surgery. It didn't move well off the mound in spring. He's a very good fielder. Wonder if the Mets will take advantage by bunting on him.
Reyes lifts one to center field. Brandon Watson near the edge of the track reels it in. So Reyes, after getting the advantage in the count, got yet another off-speed pitch and hit it straight away.
Well, here's the pitch, and there's the contact. Another changeup sinking low and away. And you see Watson here, Del Monte, can of corn right there. The ball kind of carried a little bit more than I thought it should have.
So 1 out and nobody on. And now Paul Lo Duca making his Mets debut. Lo Duca hit .283 for the Marlins last year. The Mets, as much as any other team, have taken advantage of the Florida fire sales. After Florida won the World Series in '97, they broke up the team the next year, and the Mets picked up Mike Piazza and Al Leiter and Dennis Cook. 1-1 to Lo Duca. Well, after the Marlins won it in '03, following last season, they broke it up again, and the Mets picked up Lo Duca and Delgado. 2-1.
Carlos Beltran in the on-deck circle. You can watch Livan Hernandez work. He doesn't have a lot of wasted effort. Just a nice, easy motion.
Curveball ripped over third, just foul. Laz Diaz, the third base umpire, right on the scene as Hernandez hung a curve.
And hung a curve he did, and this ball just a little out in front. Lo Duca hits it around 2 feet foul. Here's a side view at the swing. Good balance, just a little bit out in front.
As slow as Livan sometimes throws that curve, and that was a hard one for him, 73. Sometimes he'll dial it back to 64 or 65, that Bugs Bunny curveball.
He's a great artist out there as far as changing speeds.
Dribbled up the third baseline. Tough play for Zimmerman, a good young fielder, and he throws out Lo Duca for the second out. So two-way.
And the Ford defense sets up for the Nationals. Nick Johnson, the former Yankee at first. Vidro Clayton, the veteran at short. Zimmerman, the young man, made 8 errors during spring training. Soriano, of course, trying it out in left. Watson won the job in center. Guillen in right. And Brian Snyder behind the plate.
And those 8 errors in the spring for Zimmerman, kind of something of an aberration. They consider him a tremendous defensive prospect as Beltran takes outside. Carlos Beltran starting his second season as a Met, and was telling us the other day how much more relaxed he feels now than he did a year ago. And you can certainly believe that. 2-0.
Well, the burden is off of him. Now, this, like I said, this is as good a lineup since '86. This is a lineup that's going to score runs. Less pressure on Beltran.
Takes the curve for a strike, 2-1. And it doesn't go without note that Carlos Beltran and Carlos Delgado are the best of friends. And I think that Beltran very much looks up to Delgado. And that's going to help him in terms of settling in.
Well, the Mets certainly hope that's the case, because Carlos really had a difficult season last year. Hit well in the clutch, but it just wasn't the season that he would have liked.
16 home runs, 78 RBIs, 3-1 the count, and these are the spots that plagued him last year. And he takes on the outside corner. Thought he might have had ball 4. But Rick Reed, the crew chief and home plate umpire, called it a strike.
Well, a 3-1 changeup, and we're seeing what Hernandez does so well, and this view tells no lie. And that was ball 4, just missed. That's an umpire that gave the pitcher the call.
Beltran on 3-2, pops it up behind first base. Nick Johnson has room near the stands, and Livan Hernandez, like Tom Glavine before him, throws a 1-2-3 opening inning. So as we go to the second inning at Shea, Mets nothing, Nationals nothing. Second inning with no score. Tom Glavine worked a 1-2-3 first, including a strikeout of Jose Vidro in the first inning. And Nick Johnson will dig in to lead off the second. It was an incredible year for Washington last year in their first year after moving from Montreal. They got off to just a magical start to their season. Played a lot of close, low-scoring games and won the vast majority of their one-run games under Frank Robinson early in the season. But then injuries caught up with them and they faded the second half. As Nick Johnson takes outside.
Well, that's the beauty of baseball, is that baseball, it's 161 games in 182 days, and the cream always comes to the top.
You saw the difference in their first half and second half records as Johnson takes 1-1. At one point, the Nationals won 12 straight one-run games. Then they proceeded to lose 13 straight one-run games. And it's 2-1 to Nick Johnson.
Well, a lot of that was, of course, their starting pitching, but that tandem they had out in the bullpen with Luis Ayala setting up Chad Cordero. And that was just quite a 1-2 punch late in the ball game right there.
You saw Alfonso Soriano on deck. Glavine just missing inside to Johnson, and now behind 3-1. And Nick's not going to help you out. He's got as good an eye as there is in the game.
And that's a pitch that Glavine has to have. He cannot live on the outer half of the plate anymore. He has to come inside.
Of course, Glavine's never dominated left-hand hitters over the course of his career. Gets one over to Johnson, 3-2. You mentioned Ayala, though. Losing Ayala for the season with an elbow injury is really going to hurt that Washington bullpen.
And he was the lone injury in the WBC.
3-2 to Johnson. Pulled past the mound, up the middle. Hernandez, the backhand stop, jumping throw, and he got him. Anderson Hernandez with a magnificent play. 1 out and nobody on.
Well, we told you on the open that this young man can pick it, and he's got a great arm, and look at that play. That is a fine play. Beautiful backhand, no time to stop and plant. Look at the strength of the arm. That is running. His body momentum is taking him into left field away from first base and throws a bullet and a strike.
That's a shortstop's arm playing second base. Here's Alfonso Soriano getting a mixed reception from the Shea crowd. Soriano has been much in the news. Nationals traded their most popular player, Brad Wilkerson, among others, to get Soriano, intending to play him in left field. Livan falls behind 2-0. Soriano has been a second baseman ever since the Yankees moved him from shortstop early in his career. And even though he hasn't performed well there, he considers himself a second baseman and not an outfielder, which is where the Nationals are playing him.
You can know that when Frank Robinson is such a no-nonsense guy. There's Frank right there. First black manager in the history of baseball, Major League Baseball.
On 3-0, Glavine misses away, and Soriano, who doesn't draw all that many walks, walks on 4 pitches, and that's the first base runner for either team. So 1 out and 1 on. Well, the Nationals knew when they made the trade for Soriano that he didn't want to go to the outfield. But after Soriano sat out a spring training game where he was put in the lineup, it became a battle of wills between himself and the organization. Jim Bowden, the GM, threatening to put him on the disqualified list, which would have meant he wouldn't have gotten paid.
We all knew he'd be on that bus the next day.
And he was.
The power of the 1st and the 15th of the month.
1-0 to Ryan Zimmerman. Soriano, a 30-30 player last year. 30 steals, and it was only caught twice. That's now of Paul Loduca behind the plate, and Loduca didn't have a great year throwing out base runners last year. He battled a hamstring injury. And Glavine's now missed with 6 in a row out of the strike zone.
But around the strike zone, not wild by any stretch of the imagination. There's pitching coach Rick Peterson.
Glavine really lowered his walk total last year, just 61 walks in 211 innings. That was really a factor in his success, but now he's behind 3-0 on Zimmerman. Zimmerman, the 1st-round pick of the Nationals last year, the 4th overall pick out of the University of Virginia, and he didn't spend very long in the minor leagues before making his debut, as you look at the veteran Royce Clayton on deck. And he hit .397 in 58 at-bats with Washington late last season. Soriano runs on 3-0. It's a strike, but it knocks the mitt right off Loduca, and Soriano has a stolen base. Well, you don't often see a runner going on 3-0.
You hardly ever see it. And talk about throwing a heavy ball. My goodness, Tom, you overpowered your catcher. And you are correct here, Gary. I don't think in my 17 years I've ever seen anybody steal 3-0.
Wonder whether he forgot the count. In any event, he has a stolen base, and now the Nationals with a runner in scoring position, 1 out. 3-1 now to Zimmerman, and he pops one foul back this way, 3-2.
Well, Zimmerman had an outstanding spring training, hit .358, made 8 errors, as we said earlier, which was unusual. He says he's in a fielding slump, but he hit 7 home runs, which was a surprise.
3-2 to Zimmerman. And Glavine misses inside, and now he's issued back-to-back walks. And so the Nationals have 1st and 2nd and 1 out, and the number 7 hitter Royce Clayton coming up.
Royce, of course, played in Arizona last year. There you see his 2005 numbers. Good glove, veteran. He's the old man on his team. He's 36 years old.
Before last season, the Nationals signed Christian Guzman to a 4-year deal. He had a terrible year last year, and he's got a bad shoulder, and he might miss all of this season. That leaves the job to Clayton, and he takes a strike. Clayton last year played full-time at shortstop for the Diamondbacks and hit .270. Royce Clayton now 36 years old. Facing 40-year-old Tom Glavine, just turned 40 a week ago.
There's Christian.
Starting the year on the disabled list and might be staying there. And Glavine finds the inside corner, 0-2 to Clayton.
And that's what Tom needs to do. Started him out away, watch Loduca set up in, belt high, inside corner. And that's a great shot right here. That is on the inside corner. That's what he needs to do.
Lunging, fouls one off to stay in there at 0-2. Big crowd gathered here at Shea, a sellout right in the neighborhood of 55,000 in the big ballpark in Flushing. They started coming awfully early this morning. Got here at 9:30, and there were already thousands of cars in the parking lot, people tailgating. That's a new phenomenon for baseball.
Well, it's cold right now.
So you need to fire up that grill.
You need a fire.
There
I'm sure it'll stop in August and July.
There's not a space to be had anywhere near Shea Stadium today. Glavine's 0-2. He swings and misses at the changeup. And Glavine has his 2nd strikeout as he fans Royce Clayton 2 away.
Well, 2 similar pitchers, Hernandez and Glavine here, both like to get the hitter to swing at bad pitches. As Steve Carlton would say, pitchers try to expand the strike zone. The hitters try to minimize the strike zone. If you get a hitter start swinging at bad pitches, then you've got him in your hit pocket.
So 2 out and 2 on, and here's Brian Schneider, fresh off signing a new 4-year contract with the Nationals, maybe the most underrated player in the league. And he takes a strike.
He played in the WBC, hit .087 for spring in 10 games. Only had 2 weeks of spring. Threw out 33 of 69 runners last season.
Just a terrific defensive catcher who could hit more than you think. 10 home runs last year as Glavine misses just inside 1-1.
Well, that didn't miss by much.
And that's the second one against a left-hand batter that Glavine has tried to come inside and not gotten the call.
Well, Loduca did not try to cheat there with his glove. Tom, like I say, he's got to have that inside strike.
Comes farther inside. It's 2-1 to Schneider. Now, keep in mind, you've got a base open, although it's third base. The pitcher on deck, but the pitcher, Livan Hernandez, is as good a hitting pitcher as there is.
I never believed in that new philosophy of you've got an open base and it's third base. You got an open base when it's first base.
Just outside as he threw the changeup to Schneider, and now it's 3-1. So Glavine working behind in the count here in the second inning. You saw in his last outing of the spring against the Braves that Glavine was having trouble with his sharpness and threw a lot of pitches early in the game. And he's having a long inning here. 3-1 to Schneider, and that's a strike. 3-2.
Well, simple fastball away. Right to the glove. Schneider out in front.
So now the runners will be in motion. Soriano at second, Zimmerman at first with 3-2 and 2 down as the fans begin to rise at Shea. 3-2 to Schneider. Dribbled up the first baseline. Tough play for Loduca. Underhands, and he got him! Loduca going about 40 feet up the line and throwing out Schneider. Terrific play by Loduca, and it gets Glavine through the top of the second. No score. Tasty treat on a cool afternoon at Shea Stadium. Well, sausage and pepper action for you. They're selling a few of those today.
If you got a cast iron stomach, you got it, pal.
Me, I'm going straight for the hot dog. I think this kid's got the right idea. A little mustard, and you're all set to go.
Hold the relish.
The ovation is for Carlos Delgado. Hardly the reception Carlos got last year when he came to Shea as a member of the Marlins, but times change very quickly in this game. Delgado signed a multiple-year contract with the Marlins, spurning the Mets last year. But they backloaded the contract, which made it likely all along that Delgado was not going to finish his tour of duty in Florida, and lo and behold, Mets traded Mike Jacobs and got Delgado. And Livan Hernandez misses ball 1.
Well, Carlos is for a power hitter. Can also, with 2 strikes, go the other way, as you see the shift there on the infield, something that we saw all spring training on Carlos.
2-0. Now, when Carlos first came up, Royce Clayton was moving over as though he were going to go to the right side of the infield. But then he moved back to the other side of the bag. Teams will use some variety of shift against Delgado. 2-1.
There was a pitch to hit right there for Carlos. That was a 2-0 breaking ball that just kind of fluttered. Oh, helicopter, as we say. Oh, there he comes
down
inside.
the inside corner. 2-2.
This is fun to watch. 2 pitchers that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Both great guys that know how to change speeds. You got hitters that are, a little antsy. It's opening day. This is exactly the kind of pitcher you don't want to face on opening day. You have to be very calm.
There was a time when Livan Hernandez could throw in the low to mid 90s. Not anymore. Curveball swing and a miss. He got him. That Bugs Bunny curve from Livan Hernandez strikes out Delgado.
This is a pretty good hammer right here and off speed. Look at that, down and in with bite. That just completely fooled Delgado.
Sports Night, the news and information source for all New York area sports fans. Sports Night won't just report the news, it will break the news. 6 p.m., 10 p.m., and 1 a.m. every night, only on Sportsnet, New York. Now, Pedro Martinez got the biggest cheers during pregame introductions. This man got the second biggest. David Wright, his first at bat of the season, and he takes a strike from Livan Hernandez. David, in his first full year last year, did that. 27 homers, 102 RBIs, hit .306, a .388 on base percentage. And he's only 23. Curveball from Livan in, 0-2.
Interesting how this inning, Livan hardly threw any of that off-speed curveball. Here's Davey Lopes.
Positioning the outfielders against Wright. Upstairs to David, 1-2.
If you're watching at home, you can see Livan right now. You think he's got nothing on his fastball. He put a little extra on that one, a little zip. Wouldn't surprise me now if he comes back with something soft.
And Wright fouls it away. Well, they're getting that fastball at 82 miles an hour, which is a far cry from what Livan was in his heyday, but we've seen him, much like a Pedro Martinez, if not quite in the same class, go to the A fastball only when he needs it. And Wright pops it up, shallow center field. Watson in, and they're 2 away.
Well, I know that Livan goes at 31 years of age. Questionable. I'd like to have seen him pitch back in his days in Cuba when he was in his 20s.
Well, the other thing is, think about how many innings he's thrown. He's thrown more complete games than any pitcher in baseball over the last 6 years. And he's over 230, 240, 250 innings every year.
Well, he threw 246 in the third last year. Second year in a row, he led the major leagues in innings pitched.
Here's Cliff Floyd hitting 6th in the order, and he takes a strike. And this was a little bit of a surprise because during the spring, Willie batted the 2 lefties, Delgado and Floyd, back to back, and hit Wright 6th most of the time.
I think it's because of the 2 left-handers in the Washington bullpen, Joey Eichen and former Met and Yankee Mike Stanton.
0-2 to Floyd. He didn't like that last call.
And I say that, Gary, because I think Beltran's a better left-hand hitter than he is a right-hand hitter. So it would allow a manager, if you had Floyd in front of Wright, you'd have a left-hander for 3 batters.
Floyd fights off the fastball, still 0-2.
You see he's going up and down the ladder here with that fastball. He threw one up on David Wright that he laid off. But Cliff didn't lay off this one because the catcher set up with a high target. That's what he wanted to do.
But again, just 84 miles an hour, and that's why Livan is using off-speed stuff to set up the fastball. Ahead on Floyd, 0-2. And Cliff takes on the inside corner, strike 3 call. So Livan Hernandez has retired the first 6 Mets to face and striking out a pair. We're through 2 innings at Shea on opening day, no score.
New Yorkers love a good debate, and Daily News Live will be the place to find one 5 days a week on Sportsnet New York. Join New York's media experts and personalities as they gather around the table for fast-paced New York sports talk. The teams, the players, the issues that matter. Everything important to New York sports fans will be broken down here with all opinions in play. It's the voice of New York sports. Daily News Live, weekdays at 5 p.m. only on Sportsnet New York.
Get your New York sports here.
And a happy opening night to Jim Thome. As one thing about Jim Thome, he doesn't get cheated at the plate. I mean, you might strike him out, but that's going to bring with it about a 15-mile-an-hour breeze going straight to right field. A bomb last night for a guy we've always enjoyed. That would be Jim Thome. Can you hear me? The right fielder to start the season for the Mets is Xavier Nady. Came over from San Diego and trade for Mike Cameron. And Livan Hernandez drops that one in there for a strike.
Boomer, I really believe that this guy is going to be a quality addition for the New York Mets out there in right field.
He grew up in one of my favorite places. He grew up in he was born in Carmel, California. That would be Pebble Beach. He went to Salinas High School and then was a big two-time All-American at Cal Berkeley.
I think he can hit the ball well. I think getting to play every day is going to be a great advantage for him. But this guy can also play some quality defense, and we really haven't seen it a whole lot.
61 again. Rip, and the first base hit of the year for the Mets. So X marks the spot for Xavier Nady. So between innings, it was Carlos Delgado in his first game as a Met talking to the young second baseman, Jeff.
Well, he's talking to Hernandez to let him know. And so you see Julio Franco step in there also. Hey, when you catch that baseball, you're that close to second base. Forget about trying to run him down. Just flip the ball back to your shortstop and let him take over.
Short hop gobbles by Vidro, and he couldn't quite handle it in time to try to turn a deuce. And so Anderson Hernandez is out, but he advances the base runner Nady to second base, 1 out.
Vidro tried to get in on that ball a little bit too quick, and he got in between hops. Hits off the heel of his glove and then into his stomach, and there's no way that he could turn and get that ball to second base to get that lead runner out.
Well, it took to the bottom of the third inning for someone to swing at the first pitch. Here's Tom Glavine, another good hitting pitcher, not quite to the degree of Livan Hernandez, but then again, really nobody is. Glavine, a career 187 hitter. Obviously an outstanding athlete. You've long known by now that he was drafted in 2 sports, both in baseball by the Atlanta Braves and by the LA Kings of the National Hockey League. Way back when, growing up in Billerica, Massachusetts, certainly hockey happy in addition to baseball Red Sox happy. These two have squared off a couple of interesting times. You mentioned, well, Glavine, that was before that, but
when you're an opposing pitcher, you don't want to face another pitcher that's a real good hitter because it's a lose-lose situation. If you get him out, everybody expected you to, and if you don't get him out, you look like a clown.
I mean, 8 times they've met in the regular season. That's pretty. Look at that. ERA identical against each other. I will bring up a postseason meeting that was one of the biggest games for the Giants. In 2002, the Giants were down 2-1 to Atlanta. It was in San Francisco. They had just lost a bad game. Livan Hernandez won Game 4 against Tom Glavine of the Braves. The Giants hit him hard, and that went into Atlanta for Game 5, which Russ Ortiz outworked, what was it, Millwood that night, I believe. And the Giants had finally gotten over the postseason hump. It was Livan over Glavine in Game 4 of the NLDS 2002. And Glavine nails it. Up with the ball in right field is Guillen, and it'll be cut off by Nick Johnson. So how about that? The pitchers doing hitting as advertised. 2 of the best hitting pitchers, they both come through with a base hit.
And that's a credit to both of these pitchers that they not only can put the ball in play on 2 breaking balls. We saw Livan Hernandez do it earlier. Glavine does it here. Pulls the ball to the right side. But that's a credit to their work habit, not only on the mound or in the bullpen, but a credit to their work habits that they have in the batting cage with the hitting coach trying to make sure that they learn how to handle that bat.
And the Mets now with their first opportunity. Runners at scoring position, 1 out on the leadoff man, Jose Reyes, with a sharp drive to left field. Soriano there makes the catch, and it double clutches a little bit, so the first audition passed. Although you would think if you're going to run, you'd run on him, go back and tag it.
Soriano does a great job on making this play, and he was ready to throw the ball home, but the issue here is he didn't have a chance to throw it home because Xavier Nady got too far off of third base and wasn't able to get back and tag in time. That's a bad base running mistake by Xavier Nady at third base. You see that? He should have been right on top of that bag as the ball made contact. Where's he going to go?
So now 2 outs for Paul Lo Duca.
That cost the Mets a run right there.
Lo Duca still has a chance to plate. First run of the ball game. Away, 1-1.
Chris, that's a situation for Xavier Nady. Even if the ball was hit and every other left fielder in the league, you wouldn't run on him. In that situation, you take your chances because of the fact that Soriano has not been out there.
Off speed, Soriano not going to get it. The Mets have scored. So first game is a New York Met, Paul Lo Duca.
Be a problem for Washington all year long.
And Carlos Beltran now up with first and second and 2 outs and a chance to get the crowd on his side early on this season here with this at bat. Check the swing, check it third, and doesn't look like he went around, Ron.
Well, we talked about it before. The thing about Livan Hernandez makes him so difficult that doesn't matter what the count is, he will throw any pitch. You can see a little slider inside the Beltran, and it did look like he went around there past the plate.
All right, so 0-1 here on Beltran, first and second. That one just off the plate. The umpire so far, is he consistent?
The umpire so far has been giving a little bit on the outside corner to the left-handed hitter, but not calling anything inside to the lefties, and Glavine has suffered because of that.
Rick Reed is the ump behind the plate today for opening day at Shea, and there's a strike right down the middle. Once again, Matt Yoloff and Ron Darling here in our Sportsnet studios in New York. We're trying to restore audio from Gary Cohan and Keith Hernandez at Shea Stadium back to you as soon as possible. You are looking at the game live from Shea Stadium right now. It's 1-0 Mets, bottom of the third, first and second, Carlos Beltran, and the count now even on Beltran at 2-2.
Oh, the pressure match. You have to replace Gary Cohan on play-by-play.
Never going to happen, my friend. Never going to happen. I'm hoping he's back any moment, because the longer I go, the worse we look. You know what I'm talking about? All right, it looks like they're ready to go. Gary Cohan, Keith Hernandez, take it away, guys, please.
Gary Cohan, Keith Hernandez back at Shea. We apologize for the technical difficulties as Carlos Beltran grounds out to short to end the bottom of the third inning, but the Mets grabbing a 1-0 lead on a 2-out RBI single by Paul Lo Duca as Xavier Nady scores the first run of the year. 1-0 New York after 3. We go to the fourth inning here at Shea Stadium, and again we apologize. Our truck here at Shea took an enormous electrical hit which knocked us off the air, and here's what you missed. Paul Lo Duca hitting a curveball from Livan Hernandez and dumping it in just the right place in shallow left center to get home the first run of the season.
And there's Lo Duca, his first RBI of the year. It's an off-speed curveball. Good pitch from Hernandez. Just kind of dunked it in there for a base hit.
So Glavine, who worked around a leadoff hit by Livan himself in the top of the inning, starts Nick Johnson off with a pitch away, 1-0. Nick was robbed of a base hit by Anderson Hernandez going behind the bag at second his first trip. And Glavine falls behind 2-0.
I've always found it amazing that umpires can miss an inside corner strike when they're leaning over right over the inside corner. It's right there in front of them. Jess?
We're going to be joined by a very special guest in just a moment.
I kind of blew the surprise, didn't I?
Well, it was kind of a preview, a tease, if you will. Jesse Orozco, one of the heroes of the 1986 Mets, is joining us in the booth. Jess, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here. It was kind of fun throwing out the first pitch today. Really bringing back the memories.
So did the first pitch feel like the last pitch?
I haven't thrown a ball in a while, so it felt like, it felt like a golf ball.
Well, the pitch I remember more than the 7th game of the World Series was when you struck out Kevin Bass in Houston to end that 16-inning game we had against the Stros.
Yeah, it was kind of fun too at that time. We had a meeting out in the mound, and Mr. Hernandez and Mr. Carter had a good time out there trying to decide what my repertoire was going to be after that.
Did you have a voice in that at all, or was it just between?
Well, no, I just had my arms folded and I just let them go at it.
Jesse was, how would you throw? You have 3 innings that game?
Yeah, 3 innings.
And he was gassed. And we had that 3-run lead. We had 8 guys out there. Here's a fastball, hit it, and all of a sudden, okay, fine, base hit. Then all of a sudden, the tying and winning runs were out there, and it was, Kevin Bass. Okay, enough of this. Let's see that wicked Jesse Orozco slider.
Here's a 3-2 to Johnson, and Glavine misses ball 4. That's the 3rd walk that Tommy has issued. And so the Nationals have the leadoff man on for the 2nd straight inning. And Alfonso Soriano coming up.
Well, it turned out to be a big curveball because it was a tired curveball. I think it just started charging down.
It was 3 of them.
Yeah,
he just went one boom, 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 adios.
Somebody taped up Carter's fingers, so that was it. No more fastballs.
You didn't do that yourself, Keith.
No. Gary's very sensitive about that.
Yeah, Keith had nothing to do with it. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, 1986 was a wonderful moment in your career, but you played for so long after that. It's almost as though that was a distant memory by the time you were done, Jesse.
Well, that memory has always been there. Everywhere I've gone to play, and I just retired 2 years ago, and I'm still here today, even retired. But everybody I see out there in the stands, it's 86, Jesse, 86. So never forget. And I was very fortunate to play a lot of years. My role did change. I started getting down to throwing just 1 or 2 pitches a game and icing. Right. But yeah, I just it got to be fun, and I started adding a lot of games in, and next thing I knew, I got up to about 800-900 games and felt like, there's a chance to go for the record, and worked out great.
You've inspired a whole new generation of players extending their careers as Soriano gets a base hit to right field. And Nick Johnson stops at second. You have a chance to say hi to Julio Franco today?
Yes, I did. I saw him in the clubhouse, and he looks great.
He still does.
He's in great
That's those
shape,
18 egg whites a day, I think, that does it.
That's what I heard.
You didn't eat that kind of a diet, did you, to play as long as you did?
No.
We run liquid diets.
Milk you're talking about. Whole milk.
That's right. Milk drinkers.
Have you seen anybody from the 86 team?
I just saw Rusty.
Okay, well, he's here.
Rusty a while ago.
Out in California?
Out in California, let's see, I've seen Aguilera once or twice.
How's he doing?
He's doing fine. He's coaching at a high school. He's doing really well. And that's been about it. I haven't seen many guys that direction.
Strawberry's here today.
Yeah, saw Straw. Straw looks great.
And you were part of those Met teams, Jesse. When I came over here in '83, you were one of the veterans here that had gone through all those years where the Mets were the basement, in the basement. How was it for you? Because it was a rapid turnaround. I mean, '83, I came midseason. '84, we lost to the Cubs. To be a perennial loser all that time, all of a sudden to have a turnaround and play that, the next 6 years with the team always in the hunt?
Yeah, well, I remember being those teams. My first year was in 1979, and it was just disastrous. But it was a learning experience for everybody, and it was about '83, and of course, when Keith came over, and then next year, Gooden and Strawberry and Darling. All these guys started coming up. Carter came in a trade.
Zimmerman grounds one up the middle. Reyes with the knockdown. Can't make the play at second. And now the Nationals have the bases loaded and nobody out. Reyes not able to cleanly field that ball as he made the dive.
Well, the ball's hit hard. It just hits the heel of his glove there. He keeps it in the infield. Saves the run. But Soriano runs too well to get the force out.
So it's an infield hit for Ryan Zimmerman. And now Glavine has himself a big miss. Bases loaded, nobody out, and Royce Clayton coming up. Jesse, you were not only a central figure with the '86 Mets, but you're also the connection to the '69 Mets, having been traded for Jerry Koosman.
Okay, I'll take it that way. I thought you were going to say 69. Yeah, being traded for Jerry Koosman. That's always been a trivia everywhere I've gone. Sure would like to have some numbers like him too, but
you've got your own numbers.
It's also a credit to the Mets scouting. I mean, you're going to trade a veteran, Jerry Koosman, a stalwart here for Met fans, and they knew what they were doing, getting someone like you.
Clayton drives one to center. Beltran in, tagging at third Johnson. The throw will go well up the third base line as Johnson scores, and that ties the game 1-1. A sacrifice fly for Royce Clayton brings home the first Nationals run, and the game is even 1-1.
Well, the Mets got a little lucky here that Soriano didn't go home. This ball, there's a fastball in, and he got it out over the middle and up. Now, with the double clutch right here from Beltran, he should have just thrown it in. He had no shot to throw him out after that double clutch. And the ball was clearly over the cutoff man's head, and Soriano did not obviously read it.
And so instead of the Nationals having another runner at third with one out, Soriano still at second, Zimmerman at first, and here's Schneider. Glavine would love to get a ground ball from him, but he flares one over third. That's going to fall just foul. 0-1 to Schneider.
What have you been doing? I know you're in Southern California.
yes, I live in San Diego. I have 3 kids. I have a boy that's he's in junior college, and then 2 girls, 11 and 13. And last year I coached my daughter's softball all-star team, and that was a blast.
Great.
Yeah, I like those hour-and-a-half games. Like a National League game.
Weren't they wonderful?
Yeah.
Schneider bounces one slowly to first. Delgado will have to take it to the bag, and that's the second out. Runners advance to second and third, now 2 away, and Livan Hernandez will come on up.
And Livan Hernandez, like Glavine, a good hitting pitcher. Can't take it for granted. You got to base hit his first at bat.
In fact, he had the first hit of the game for either team right after we got zapped off the air in the top of the third. So 2 in scoring position for Livan. Game tied 1-1, top of the 4th. And Glavine goes away.
Livan's always been a pretty good hitter. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time.
And how many years have you been retired now?
I'm on 2 years.
How many years did you get into the majors?
23.
23.
That's a nice pension.
Fly ball to right. Nady over to his right, and he reels it in. And so Glavine minimizes the damage in the 4th. Jesse, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dave. It was great to be up here.
All right.
Great to
go
see
to the
you.
bottom of the
Max.
4th. 1-1 ball game. It's a full house here at Shea Stadium. Opening day 2006. Matthew Broderick on hand watching the action.
There's Met fans everywhere. Darn right. All right, Matthew.
Did he bring Nathan Lane along?
Did he bring his wife? heck with Nathan Lane. There's the mayor.
Mayor Bloomberg on hand. Wearing no team's garb today.
But he's a Met fan.
He's a Red Sox fan.
Oh.
But he has the good sense to root for the home teams now that he's transplanted. Carlos Delgado leads off in the bottom of the 4th. Carlos struck out his first time up on a big slow curve by Livan Hernandez. That's got a run at the bottom of the 3rd. Nationals tied it in the top of this inning, and Carlos takes a strike.
You can see right there what Hernandez likes to do. He likes to run that fastball at the hip of the left-hand hitter, and it comes back out over the inside corner. It freezes the hitter. It's a very good weapon.
And he comes inside with a breaking ball, 1-1. Delgado has 3 career home runs against Livan in 27 at-bats. You see David Wright on deck. 4, 5, and 6 in the order. Delgado, Wright, and Floyd. And that's the likes of which are 4, 5, and 6 that the Mets have not had in a long, long time.
Absolutely.
Ripped foul. in and out of that front row. That hurt somebody's hands. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, they finally went away here, and you could see the catcher try to backhand, and he made a mistake here. Got on the inner half of the plate and down into a left-hand hitter's wheelhouse. And Carlos just a little bit too quick.
What's it like? New team, opening day, being too quick can't be all that surprising.
Well, particularly when you come and you're a big money player. You got a high salary today. It's a lot of things have changed. It's a little unsettling.
Hit to left, and Soriano doesn't have to move an inch. 1 away. So they had Delgado played perfectly. Soriano shaded toward left center.
Well, they had the shift on. They not only have it in the infield, they have it in the outfield. And you do. A hitter like Delgado, who's up there with no one on base, he's going to look for something to drive. Just give him the left field line.
So 1 out and nobody on. Of course, there have been Mets who have made their opening debuts special ones. 1985, Gary Carter on opening day hit a walk-off 10th inning home run
off Neil Allen.
Bobby Bonilla's debut with the Mets in 1992 was a special one. He had 2 home runs his first game in St. Louis, including one in extra innings. 2-0 to David Wright. But you have to imagine the emotions churn even stronger for a guy who has that much of a spotlight on him in his first game in a new team. 2-0 to Wright, and he hits one in the air deep down the left field line, but playable for Soriano, I think, near the corner, and he runs it down in foul ground. Soriano tracked that ball well, going toward the left field corner. So 2 out and nobody on. Mets 6-packs are on sale now. Get your tickets before the bandwagon does and see the Mets take on the game's biggest stars. A 6-pack is also your ticket to a sold-out Mets-Yankees game at Shea. Secure your seat this season. Visit Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX. Operators are standing by. So 2 out and nobody on. And here's Cliff Floyd, who went down looking his first time up. Takes the curveball inside.
You can see, it's just fun to watch Livan work today. He's got his good stuff working. He's such a nibbler. You'd have to say he's a nibbler. You have to be so patient and have such a good eye. But he throws such tantalizing pitches up there that look just right there to hit and then fall out of the strike zone.
And throws a fastball there, and he hasn't thrown all that many of them today, but he spotted that one. Clocked at 80 miles an hour. But because that off-speed stuff is so good, it works.
I got to believe he's throwing a little harder than 80. I mean, that's almost BP.
Xavier Nady, who scored the lone Met run, waits on deck.
And his first at bat as a Met gets a base hit.
There's that big, slow Bugs Bunny curveball. 2-1.
Now watch the he doesn't give it away. It's just the same motion, but look how effortless this is. Leg kick. Look at the follow through. He's there ready to field a. It's just no effort, no wasted effort.
Comes inside, and it's 3-1.
Now he's been behind the count, a breaking ball off-speed pitcher. Ahead in the count, he likes to pop you inside, which all good pitchers. And you see the shift on Floyd, which I agree with too. You give Floyd the left field line. Absolutely.
Especially at 3-1. But he pops it up back toward the stand, Schneider, and he'll run out of room. 3-2 to Floyd.
Well, Cliff had him a pretty good slider to hit right there. Kind of hung over the middle. He was a little tardy. This is a 3-1 slider. He wants it down and in. It just kind of stayed over the middle, belt high. And Cliff missed it. A little bit late.
Hernandez has not walked anybody. He's struck out 2. Given up 3 hits. They all came in the 3rd.
Fastball in again.
Payoff to Floyd. Off the fists, but he rolled it foul outside 3rd.
That was an interesting sequence of signs right there. There's no deception. He shook off. His second sign that Snyder called was a fastball in. He shook him off, made him go through all of his other signs. Watch. Fastball in, no. Curveball, no. Slider, no. Fastball away, no. Changeup, no. Fastball in. You made him call it twice, trying to get the hitter to think. This is a very smart guy out here. This is fun. This is the little things of baseball that are so much fun to watch.
Just trying to create that seed of doubt.
Slider, curve, fastball in, fastball away, curve, changeup.
Here's a 3-2 to Floyd, and he misses with the changeup away, and Cliff draws a 2-out walk. First walk given up by Livan.
And you see right here, sinking changeup, missed by around 4 inches. Good eye by Floyd. The power in this lineup with Delgado, Wright, and Floyd, I almost think that, well, I think they're going to have, Nady's going to beat them, not Floyd. And also it's a right-hander against a right-hander situation. Got to be very careful to Cliff. One mistake, it could be 2-1 ball game.
So here's Nady, who had a base hit to left center his first time and scored the only Met run. 1-1, bottom of the 4th. Nady, a part-time player in San Diego last year, had 326 at-bats and hit 13 home runs.
Now you see, that's just a show right there. Xavier started to pull the ball in spring training when he went into a slump. This is a fastball in after a curveball first pitch. The day he got 3 hits on the Friday, I believe, or Thursday, he went the other way. Now he's going to go away. He's not going to go back. Oh, he's going to go back in.
Here's
for a
the
strike.
1-1, and it's pulled over the third base bag. That's a fair ball going down the line. Floyd motoring around second. Soriano just now getting to it. Floyd will be waved home, and he will score without a throw. It's an RBI double for Xavier Nady, and the Mets regain the lead. It's 2-1.
Well, I was a bit surprised he tried to come back in and throw a strike with a fastball, and he did up and in, and that's a good pitch. And Nady likes the ball in here. He rips it down the line here, and boy, what a for Nady right here being traded over for Mike Cameron from the Padres. This is a wonderful way to start the season.
We'll talk about having a big opening day in your first game with a new team. Nady now 2 for 2. He's scored a run and he's driven in a run. And now Anderson Hernandez. Let's see how they pitch to him here with the pitcher on deck and first base open. Hernandez grounded out to second base his first trip. To figure with a young player, they'll go after him.
Well, just a showing fastball right there. And he's unknown quantity here, Anderson Hernandez. And Livan with Glavine on the mound for the Mets does not want to go down 3-1.
On 1-0, he bounces it to short right at Clayton. And that retires the side, but the Mets attack with 2 out. A walk to Floyd, a run scoring double by Nady. And the Mets regain the lead. It's 2-1 New York.
Matt Yaloff here with your Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. It's the Cubs, it's the Reds, and it's the Commander-in-Chief, George Bush, throwing out the first pitch of this ball game right now. First inning, Cubs up on the Reds by a score of 2-0. Remember, Nissan Postgame Live follows Mets baseball. Now, it's back to the game at Shea.
And of course, it's opening day, a day for aces. Carlos Zambrano going for the Cubs today in their opener, and it's a comment on the Reds that they have Aaron Harang going opening day. As Tom Glavine, working with a 1-run lead, throws ball 1 to Brandon Watson. Watson tried to sacrifice his last time up, bunted into a force play. Hit to second. Hernandez, who was playing shallow against the speed of Watson, throws him out. 1 out and nobody on. Let's send it to the third member of our team, Chris Cotter. Chris?
Hey guys, you know, it's interesting. Tom Glavine, keep in mind during spring training, he only went more than 4 innings once in his 5 starts. And this early on in the season, let's keep an eye on the pitch count now as he works into the 5th inning.
That's a good point, Chris. That's 74 pitches now for Glavine, who's clearly thrown more than he'd like with 3 walks along the way. As Vidro bunts one in the air foul.
That is the first breaking ball thrown by Glavine today. That's something that he mixed in more. Here it comes right here. It's a backdoor curve. Yep. And that's the first one he's thrown.
Waiting till the 3rd time around the batting order. As Vidro watches away, 1-1. Vidro struck out and grounded out 0 for 2. Vidro did not have a Jose Vidro type year last year, but he was hurt most of the season. Line to right center field, and that's a base hit for Vidro. Beltran chases it down, and Vidro, after a wide turn, will hold on. That's the 4th hit off Glavine, 1 out and 1 on. And it'll bring up Jose Guillen. Paul Lo Duca, first game as a New York Met, working with a brand new pitching staff. And that's always an issue for a catcher coming to a new team.
Well, he's a take charge guy, hard-nosed player. It's an important position, the catcher's position.
And Guillen drives it to the gap in right center field, and that's a base hit. Beltran cuts it off. Vidro will go to third. Guillen trying for 2, and he'll make it standing. And the Nationals have second and third and 1 out. Of course, Paul Lo Duca endeared himself to his teammates the last time he and Glavine hooked up in Tommy's last spring start against the Braves. Glavine was having trouble getting calls, and when Lo Duca got called out, he not only was defending his own at bat, but more importantly defending his pitcher's right to get some strikes called.
Well, he basically said he'd caught the same pitch in the same spot. Were called balls for against Glavine around 9 times. So when he got rung up, nothing will make you more angry than that as a hitter.
And so Lo Duca, who figures to be more of a take charge catcher than his predecessor Mike Piazza, showing that side of himself. Now Glavine behind on Johnson, 2-0. And what's Tommy thinking here with first base open? You got a left-hand hitter up, a right-hand hitter on deck.
You got to try to just get out of this with 1 run. That is, I mean, obviously you want to get out with no runs, but it's a lefty-lefty as Lo Duca goes out to talk to Tom. You want to go after a left-hand hitter. And Soriano, then you can think about pitching around if you want with an open base and go after the young Ryan Zimmerman behind Soriano and get a double play. But this is certainly not a lefty-lefty matchup. You want to go get this guy. Lefties aren't in there to pitch around lefties.
Of course, Johnson isn't a guy who's going to chase a bad pitch, so you're going to have to come right after him.
Mets playing the infield bat, conceding the run on the ground. You want to look for a ball to pull here.
2-0. Johnson watches outside. It's 3-0. Rick Peterson talking to Jerry Manuel, the Mets bench coach. That's a new role for Jerry, a former manager with the White Sox who was the first base coach last year.
They're going to call down that bullpen, get some people up.
3-0 to Nick Johnson, who walked his last trip, and he takes a strike. Livan not giving in on 3-0 through the changeup to the outside part of the plate. Tommy's pitch count getting up there, close to 85 pitches now. 3-1. It's grounded behind the bag, foul, and it's 3-2 to Johnson. Let's get that bullpen cooking now. Vidro, the runner, at third. Guillen at second with 1 out.
Glavine needs a strikeout, and Nick Johnson is a tough strikeout.
3-2 to Johnson. The payoff from Glavine, and it's on the inside corner. Strike 3 call. Well, that's the 3rd time today that Glavine's tried to pick up that inside corner against the lefty, and the first time he's gotten the call.
Well, he didn't get the inside corner here. Look at the catcher go over the middle with his glove. That's just knee high, and maybe it did get a little bit of the inside corner. Here it is right here. Oh, good pitch. Well, that's a go sit down, hang with him, you tip your hat. That ball was not low.
There's Chad Bradford and Darren Oliver up in the Mets bullpen. So that's the biggest pitch Glavine's made today, and now he throws one by Soriano.
Boy, I'll say, Tom was not known to be a cheddar man with that fastball. Up and in and beats Soriano.
Usually if Glavine's up with the fastball, it's a mistake.
So see if he doubles up inside here.
Second and third and 2 out. And it comes inside corner for a strike, 0-2.
He doubled up in. That is good. Now he's out in front. He can do anything he wants.
And that'll get the crowd on its feet here at Shea. Glavine trying to work out of a second and third and 1 out jam. Got Johnson looking. Now he's 0-2 to Soriano, who's walked and singled. On 0-2. Change up away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Kind of a waste pitch there. It's a little sinking change. See if he'll fish after it. Soriano does not walk. He's a hacker.
Saw the rookie Ryan Zimmerman on deck. Glavine's 1-2. Another change, misses low, 2-2.
Still got the base open. It's risky, but I would love to see a fastball in right now.
Well, he's teased him away twice after coming inside with the first two. 2-2 to Soriano, who asked for time.
That's always a good thing. You've got Glavine now, the great pitcher that he is, Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer. Here he is in a jam. He's pitching just right to the spots. Going in.
2-2. He finds the inside corner. Strike 3 call. Glavine strikes out Johnson and Soriano back-to-back to strand 2 in scoring position and preserve the lead. We've come halfway, middle of the 5th at Shea. Mets 2, Nationals 1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Tom Glavine, who did a magnificent job that last inning, will lead off.
Well, the runner's on base. Up and in fastball. Swung on and missed. Came back with another fastball in. And then throws a little changeup away. Another changeup low and away. And then goes right back inside with a fastball. Called third strike. That is pitching.
And that's Tom Glavine late 2005, 2006, as opposed to the Tom Glavine of the 90s.
Now, I agree with you. In the at-bat prior, Nick Johnson, he went inside and got Nick Johnson after falling behind 3-1.
Glavine had a base hit his first trip. Swings and misses 1-2.
Well, Tom, you got a base hit last time off Livan. He's not going to throw you that fastball. He's going to go get you here.
Glavine pulled one into right for his hit. Taps this one up the third baseline. Livan can't make the play in time, and Glavine has an infield hit. Looked like Livan thought about letting that ball roll, realized it had no chance of going foul, and by the time he decided to pick it up, it was too late.
Well, there's no way it was going to go foul, and Livan a little bit not as quick as he used to be with that right knee surgery in the offseason. Just a little tad slow. Kind of surprised maybe the Mets haven't tried to take advantage of his right knee. It's a little slow off the mound.
This is a mixed blessing here because Glavine's thrown 89 pitches in 5 innings. They'd like to squeeze another inning out of him. He just had to run hard to first base, and now he's going to spend some time out on the base paths.
Ah, he's in shape.
At 40.
And there we go. Aaron Heilman, of course.
Are you surprised to see him up this early?
I am a little surprised.
I figured Aaron to be a 7th or 8th inning guy, but it looks like Willie wants him for the 6th. Here's Reyes with nobody out, and he takes outside.
Well, he's hoping that Glavine can take it to the 7th. Glavine gets one more inning. Heilman 7-8 to your closer. And that's your setup, man.
Of course, you got a day off tomorrow, so it gives everybody a chance to refresh if you have to run through your bullpen today. Reyes pulls one down to first. Johnson gets the out. Now he's got Glavine in a rundown. Clayton running him back. Nobody covering first, and Glavine gets back safely. Livan Hernandez did not cover first base. And as the Nationals tried to execute the rundown, Glavine alertly was able to slide back into the bag.
Well, there's only one reason for this. Livan Hernandez fell asleep. He's got to come in and cover. He's got to cover behind first base. Now, nice play by Johnson. That ball was a bullet. Runs the runner. Now, Johnson could have held there, but he didn't. They do that rotation on the rundowns. And Reyes, of course, is hustling. See, he just kind of fell asleep.
That's a brain cramp right there because he realized it far too late that he needed to get over.
Now, Nick Johnson, a ball hit that hard, could have gone to second and tried to get Reyes, but probably his thought process was Reyes runs so well, why take a chance? I can tag the bag first, throw to second, we got a pitcher and a rundown.
I think it was the right play.
I agree.
Considering Reyes' speed?
Absolutely.
You'd rather get Glavine in that rundown. Well, Glavine's had to run hard twice now. He's still at first base.
All they want is 3 more outs from him.
Loduca takes a strike on the sinker. 1-1. Loduca drove in the Mets' first run with a parachute into left center as Beltran waits on deck. Tommy's not huffing and puffing.
He's in shape. He likes to run.
See what happens if Loduca hits one in the gap. Here's the 1-1, too high, 2-1. Well, everybody's a little extra pumped up on opening day. And Glavine going above and beyond the call right now. Working out of the jam in the top of the inning and now running the bases hard. 3-1 now to LaDuca. Hernandez has walked only 1, struck out 2. Mets with a 2-1 lead and looking for more on the bottom of the 5th. Sandy Alomar now the Mets first base coach, swapping roles with Jerry Manuel, looking on as Glavine takes the lead. And LaDuca drives one to right center field. That's in for a base hit. Rolling to the warning track. Glavine racing to third. Guillen fires in. Glavine will stop at third. LaDuca in with a double, and the Mets have second and third and 1 out. And Tom Glavine's excellent adventure on the bases continues as Paul LaDuca slams a double to right center.
Well, not a bad day for all the Met newcomers here offensively. This is what LaDuca does so well. That ball's inner half of the plate, more inside. He stays level, a little inside out, strong enough to drive it. Now here's Glavine. Oh, Tom. Hold your breath. Come on. Easy breathing.
This is what those sprints in spring training are for.
And of course, LaDuca there has an easy stand-up double.
Infield back for Beltran, so they'll concede a run on a ground ball. Beltran is fouled out and grounded out 0 for 2. Second and third, 1 out. And Livan keeps it away, 1-0.
Nick Johnson's playing almost halfway. It's like a ball's hit hard to him. He has a play at the plate. That's kind of in between being in and back. The ball's hit hard to him. He's got a shot to throw a guy out at the plate.
Fouls it off. Especially with the pitcher running, you have a pretty good sense that Glavine's not running on contact, making sure that ball gets past Johnson on a ground ball.
But you want him to go here because pitchers are not used to being on the bases, and they're playing back up the middle. And sometimes pitchers' judgments aren't so quick as a guy that's out there every day, and you want him to go. And I would think he's going to go on the ground.
They shorten up Vidro at second, but Beltran pops it up. Clayton out, Soriano in, Clayton calling. And that's the second out, and Glavine will stay at third. So Beltran unable to get the run in. And they've started early here at Shea, getting on Beltran's case.
You know, you got a lot of chorus of boos there for Beltran. You know, I think it's counterproductive. I mean, if you're Met fans, and these obviously are all Met fans here, Carlos Beltran is an important element to this ball club. And you know, it just seems like there's more booing than there ever has been than there was when I played.
Yeah, I think that's societal as much as anything else. Randy St. Clair, the Washington pitching coach, out at the mound. It didn't start at the beginning of last season with Beltran. It didn't start till the middle of the season. The funny thing is that after his collision with Mike Cameron, when he came back with a month to go in the season, the fans cheered him wildly and really didn't get on his case the rest of the year. But they're his first RBI situation of the season, and the Boo Birds were back out. So now Delgado will try and pick him up.
Be very curious to see how Hernandez pitches Delgado with the right hitting behind.
Taken inside. Well, you remember last year when Floyd was hitting in front of right, every time they would walk Floyd to pitch to right, David would punish them.
Well, they have to respect right. There's no question. And they pitched aggressive. Davey Lopes, he's got the outfield way switched over.
Blooped Clayton right there, and that ends the inning. So Hernandez able to avoid trouble in the 5th. 2 hits and 2 left. Livan will try and catch his breath as we go to the 6th.
Kick off the 2006 Mets season with your family at Kids Opening Weekend, Saturday and Sunday, April 8th and 9th. The first 12,000 fans, 12 and under, receive a free hot dog, courtesy of Nathan's. Get to Mets.com or call 718-507-TIXX for your tickets.
New Yorkers have long made Florida a favorite for winter vacations and for retirement. It's a tradition. And when the Mets are in Florida for spring training, they take part in another great tradition, the facilities at Tradition Field, and the relaxed lifestyle in the town of Tradition, all in Port St. Lucie. The town of Tradition is everyone's new hometown, a community like no other. When the Mets are in Florida, they call Tradition home. Why not you? Next time you're in Florida, come discover Tradition. It's your kind of town.
Honey, sometimes when you go to sleep, you talk about a place.
I don't remember.
Can you tell me the best way to get to Silent Hill?
Why do you want to go there?
On April 21st, a mother looking for answers
Sharon!
will discover a truth.
Hey! Where
Where's my child?
Only the demon knows where she is.
Too terrified to believe.
What's happening? Who are you?
I am the Reaper. Silent Hill. Rated R.
Well, you've met the Mets. They're about ready to play, and so are we. Right, Ralph Kiner?
That's right, Lindsay, and it should be a mighty interesting season, starting with our first exhibition game on television tomorrow.
Right. Bob Murphy? Opening day less than 2 weeks away, Lindsay. You're right. Opening day less than 2 weeks away. So we'll see you tomorrow, starting with the first exhibition game. We'll be doing 136 games for WOR-TV Channel 9 in New York for Rheingold. See you.
And that, my friends, is an absolute classic. The original three broadcasters of the New York Mets, Bob Murphy, Lindsey Nelson, and Ralph Kiner, on the first ever telecast of anything involving the New York Mets in 1962. And now here we are, some 44 years later, launching a new venture, Sportsnet New York, our first ever New York Mets broadcast.
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel very honored that to follow in those footsteps. Ralph is such a wonderful man. I had a great pleasure of working with Ralph. Of course, I didn't know Lindsey Nelson, but of course Bob Murphy. Those are old Met stalwarts there. And Ralph is just such a class guy. And I miss Ralph. I haven't seen Ralph. I didn't see him all spring, so hopefully he'll make it out here and come by the booth.
And Ralph will be part of our coverage on Sportsnet New York. He'll be doing some studio work, and he'll also be a guest commentator on some games. It occurs to me that Lindsey Nelson would be awfully proud of that coat you're wearing today.
Oh, don't you like it? It's my Thomas Jefferson $2 bill coat. I mean, it didn't cost $2, though.
It's not quite multicolor in the way that Lindsey used to wear his blazers, but it's special. It really is. And you,
thank you.
You pull it off. And not many guys could pull that off, I want you to know.
You're not a member of PETA, are you? Turn my back to you.
No, the red paint was left at home today. 2-2 to Ryan Zimmerman as Glavine works in the sixth, and he gets him with the changeup, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for Tom Glavine.
Well, the old catcher setup in, and it's a changeup. Out in front, swings right through it.
Glavine up to 94 pitches on the afternoon, and the bullpen staying busy, but even after that trip around the bases for Glavine, still looking sharp as Clayton lines one just beyond the reach of Hernandez and into right field.
Well, you see the success with the Nationals is them taking Glavine the other way. When Glavine got in trouble, you see Howman there, he's probably ready to go. But I think Willie would much prefer Glavine to get through this sixth inning, get 7 and 8 from Heilman, and then go to Wagner for the ninth, which is something that we're going to see a lot of this season.
Talking to Willie before the game, he said that 8th inning will belong to Heilman. It'll also belong to Duaner Sanchez. They might mix and match in the 7th and 8th. There's Schneider taking outside. And it's not a matter of leaving Glavine in the game to face the lefty here, because Heilman is as effective as anybody against left-hand hitters. Clayton the tying run at first with 1 out. And Glavine gets it over at the knees, 1-1.
Good strike right there, knee-high outside corner. You look at Rick Peterson. Watch the glove of the catcher. Doesn't move it. Right there, knee-high, black. LaDuca really frames nicely behind the plate. Gives a nice low target.
Clayton stole 13 bases last year. Now 36 years old, still runs well. Whereas Clayton's been a solid shortstop in the big leagues for a long time. He was in one of the toughest spots when he had to replace Ozzie Smith in St. Louis. There he goes, and it's fisted foul. Schneider swung at a pitch up and in, 1-2.
That's a tough pitch to lay off right there, and you got a guy like Glavine that kind of predominantly lives on the outside corner, and he comes up and in a fastball right here. A little something extra on it too. Beat him. You see him inside out to get the bat head through. Just totally beat him. That's almost a pitch if you're surprised, if you had the discipline, just lay off. It looks like Snyder's on top of the plate against left-handers. You can only cover so much of the plate when you're that close to the plate. Look area in or out.
And Glavine just misses away. You mentioned the troubles that Schneider had swinging the bat in spring training. He was just 2 for 23, and he hasn't looked good swinging the bat here today. So for a hitter like that, you would think trying to come inside might be exactly what Glavine wants to do.
Well, you want to get him. He's not feeling good. You want to make him.
Back to the mound. Double play ball. Glavine to Reyes and on to first. 1-6-3 double play, and the inning is over. So Glavine inducing the comebacker from Schneider, and he's through 6. We're in the middle of the 6th at Shea. Mets 2, Nationals 1. Tom Glavine, 100 pitches through 6 innings. He's allowed a run on 6 hits. Also has a couple of base hits in his own right.
Well, we all know about pitch counts, and 100 seems to be the magic number.
For the moment, Aaron Heilman has sat down in the Mets bullpen.
I'd say give me one more, Tom.
If he can get it, that double play ball certainly helped. Here's David Wright leading off the home 6th, and he takes the curve from Livan Hernandez, and that's Livan's 88th pitch of the game. Wright has flied out twice, 0 for 2. And he takes a strike, 0-2. Last season, this is where David Wright's at-bats began. He was constantly 0-2 and then able to get himself into better counts, 2-2, 3-2. Hits this one in the air to deep right field. Back goes Cohan onto the warning track, looking up, and it's out of here! David Wright with an opposite field home run. The Mets' first home run of the season, and the Mets extend their lead to 3-1. This kid has quite a knack when he gets behind in the count. Floyd grounds one to first, a foul ball.
Well, David just looks like he was looking away. Fastball up and out on the outer half of the plate. Not a good pitch from Livan. And David's so strong. That was a line drive. And you see the reaction in the Met dugout. And that is a big run here in the bottom of the 6th. That cushion keeps your corner infielders off the lines, protecting for the double.
Floyd takes a sinker for a strike. Now, Wright hit 27 home runs last year in his first full season. And it seemed as though more than half of them were to the right of center field. And his first one of this year goes the other way. Floyd lifts one to left. Soriano right there. And that's the first out. So one away. It'll bring up Xavier Nady. And it's time for our Aflac trivia question. And the question is, who has hit the most opening day home runs in Major League history?
Well, you told me the answer. We will say one thing. He's in the ballpark here today.
Yes, he is. He is in attendance. Here's Xavier Nady, who's had a big Mets debut. Single to left center in the 3rd.
Now, Xavier Wright
doubled in a run in the 4th.
I'm sorry, Garrett. I didn't mean to step on you there. Nady's got to look away now. He beat him up and in last at bat, and the book on Nady is away.
Takes the curve, 1-1.
He turned on the fastball up and in for an RBI double, gave them at the 2-run lead back in the 4th. I do not think he's going to go back in there. Slider, fastball away, curveball.
Another curve, and he gets it over, 1-2 to Nady.
And those are 2 hanging curves in a row over the inner half of the plate. Just kind of froze Nady. I think more of the off-speed fooled him.
Well, he's probably looking away, wouldn't you think?
Fastball in.
And that rides him back 2-2. I mean, Livan knows what the scouting report is, but Nady's got to know what the scouting report is on himself.
It's all about adjusting. Slider, curve. You're going to throw that little slow hook on him.
Curve lifted to left along the line. Soriano circling in. It'll fall in front of him for a base hit. And Nady is 3 for 3. And that's the first time today we've seen Alfonso Soriano look less than a big league outfielder.
There's big Frank Robinson. Well, it's the hook out in front. such a good off-speed curveball. Let's go with one hand. And Alfonso has to respect the power of Nady. Played way too deep. Had no shot.
Here's Hernandez taking outside 1-0. Hernandez 0 for 2. He's grounded out both trips. And he takes a strike 1-1.
For a young hitter like Hernandez, 23 years old, you're first opening day, and you face a crafty pitcher like Livan. Such a nice last name, Hernandez.
You saw Jose Valentin on deck to bat for Glavine, and Hernandez gets the off-speed pitch over. So Glavine appears to be done after 6 innings. And Tommy was brilliant here today, especially getting out of that big jam in the top of the 5th.
Got out of that big jam throwing in, and Aaron Heilman's ready to go.
1-2 to Hernandez. Hit back to Livan, but it's off his glove. Chases it down, has no play. Livan Hernandez nonchalanting that soft line drive back to the mound, and the Mets wind up with 2 runners on base.
This is a little bit off the end of the bat. Don't know if it's so much nonchalant, and sometimes those semi-line drives, you think they're hit at you harder than you think, and the pitcher has very little reaction time here. He just jammed him.
Looked like he took his eye off the ball.
He took his eye off the ball.
I think he was going to look over to first base to see if he had a chance for a double play, or see whether the hitter was running to see whether he could get a double play that way, but he didn't catch the ball.
And Anderson Hernandez has got his first hit of the season.
If he gets a hit. See how they score it. And they're going to charge Livan with an error.
Oh, man, nice home book.
So here's Jose Valentin in his first at bat as a Met, batting for Glavine, and that one gets behind Schneider, but no advance. Nady thought about it, but held on. Gary Cohan and Keith Hernandez with you from Shea Stadium in New York. Sold out crowd on opening day, and the Mets lead the Nationals 3-1 as they bat in the bottom of the 6th. Our regular season debut on Sportsnet New York. You're home for 125 Mets regular season broadcasts this season. Valentin coming off a poor and injury-plagued year with the Dodgers last year. Mets are hoping he can find his form that led him to hit 25 home runs 5 straight years in the American League. Takes the breaking ball low, 2-0.
Well, he's a switch hitter and a power hitter, as you said, strikes out a lot.
Here's Felix Rodriguez, the veteran, up in the Washington bullpen, trying to fill some of the gap created by the injury to Luis Ayala, who's out for the year. 2-0 to Valentin, and now it's 3-0. So Livan Hernandez, who's walked only 1 today, in danger of loading the bases for Jose Reyes.
I think I'd rather go off a guy coming cold off the bench and a kind of a chilly day today than Jose Reyes, who had a red hot spring.
Takes the 3-0 down the middle. Valentin, now 36 years old, was an everyday shortstop for years in the American League with the White Sox. Guy who would hit for power but not a whole lot of average. On 3-1, he takes a strike call. He thought he might have had ball 4, but Livan found the inside corner with the slider.
Well, there you go. Behind the count breaking ball pitcher, right down and in too, and that's a pitch you'd lay off, and that is on the just nipping the black, as we would say, and that is a pitcher's pitch, and Valentin was wise just to take that tough pitch to hit, particularly 3-1 count.
So now you got 3-2 and 1 out. You got a guy who strikes out a lot at the plate, so we would not expect Nady and Hernandez to be running here.
I agree with you 100%. You don't want to strike him out, throw him out, inning over, double play.
They don't go, and a swing and a miss, and Livan Hernandez coming inside again to strike out Jose Valentin. So 2 out and 2 on, and here's the answer to our Aflac trivia question: who has the most opening day home runs in Major League history? He's in the ballpark today.
One of my favorite players as a kid growing up.
You got it.
8 of the 586 that Frank Robinson hit in his major league career. Nationals manager now in his 5th season. He only thought he was going to be there for 1 year until they sold the team. Well, guess what? They still haven't sold the team. Here's Reyes, and he takes a changeup for a strike from Livan.
They've agreed on the ballpark. There's Frank's career numbers. Oof. What a great player.
Won the MVP in both leagues.
Only guy to do it.
Won the Triple Crown his first season in the American League with Baltimore.
And Frank Cashin made that trade, the general manager that brought me here. That was for Milt Pappas, wasn't it? His 20-game winner.
Folks in Cincinnati said that Frank was an old 30. Well, he was a very young 31 when he won the Triple Crown. Reyes fouled it off 1-2.
I talked with Frank about that trade, Frank Cashin, and he said, we knew what he could do. We knew the stats. Well, he came over and became the leader of that Oriole team, and that is the intangible you don't know when you make a trade. And he said he just came over and took charge of that clubhouse and made them into winners.
And not only did he win the Triple Crown that first year, but they won the World Series sweeping the Dodgers. 2-2 to Reyes. And all those great young pitchers on that team with Palmer and McNally.
Cuellar. Pat Dobson, right? Was he on that team?
A little later, I think. They had 4 20-game winners when Dobson came over. Right. That was 71, I think. 2-2 to Reyes. 2 out and 2 on. And a swing and a miss, and Hernandez strikes on Reyes. So back-to-back strikeouts for Livan to limit the damage. But the Mets tack on 1 in the 6th on David Wright's first home run of the year. And as we go to the 7th, it's 3-1 New York as the Mets will go to their bullpen in the 7th.
Matt Yaloff here with a Chevrolet Baseball Day in New York update. Take you to Texas. Kevin Millwood making his first start for the Rangers, facing Big Papi David Ortiz in the first, and that's a big fly ball for Big Papi. But check out Lance Nix making the catch on the run right now. 2-0 Sox in the 4th. Nissan Postgame Live comes your way following Mets baseball. Back to Shea.
All right, Matt and Kurt Schilling making that start for the Red Sox today, hoping to stay healthy all year, and the Red Sox badly need him to do that. Aaron Heilman, first man out of the bullpen for the Mets after Tom Glavine went 6 good innings.
See Heilman right there, his numbers. Second half of the season, he posted a 0.68 earned run average.
Best in the major leagues. Billy Wagner was second. And the first man Heilman will face will be the former Met Marlon Anderson, batting for Livan Hernandez. Marlon had a spectacular year as a pinch hitter for the Mets last year, and they wanted to bring him back, but they didn't want to give him a 2-year contract. The Nationals did, and so Marlon Anderson is now with Washington. Popped up foul off to the left, 0-2. Aaron Heilman, after that great season out of the bullpen last year, wanted to become a starter. Feels more comfortable as a starter. Went to the Dominican Republic and did a great job starting during the winter. Competed for the 5th starter's job this spring and did a great job again. And yet he's back in the bullpen.
And he handled it well. And we knew he would. He's such an even temperament, such a quiet kid. And it had to be disappointing for him. He's been a starter his whole life. He started at Notre Dame. But the Mets felt that they'd be stronger in the bullpen with him out there.
Loop to left center, and that's in for a base hit for Marlon Anderson. And that's what Marlon did all of last year for the Mets, coming off the bench and wrapping out pinch hits. Last year, he had 18 pinch hits and a .321 pinch hit batting average for the Mets.
Well, you see the pitch was supposed to be down and away, and you saw LaDuca's glove. There's a mistake right there. Got it inner half, and good hitting by Anderson.
So that's the 7th Washington hit. And they'll get the tying run to the plate here in the top of the 7th. Brandon Watson, who's gone 0 for 3.
Mets in at the corners.
Watson watches outside.
Now the book and the rule is on the road you play for the win, and at home you play for the tie. Why? I don't know. Obviously you bat in the bottom of the order. So in this situation, well, excuse me, it's 3-1. So I made a big boo-boo right there. So scratch that. Forgot about the home run.
Try for the 3-run homer. Bunts it up the first baseline. LaDuca has to let that one roll and then punches it the rest of the way foul.
Well, nice try on the bunt here. And it's rolling. And once it gets fouled, touch it. The ball's dead.
Don't give it that chance to roll back into fair territory.
We've seen that happen before.
All it has to do is hit a little rock and you're sunk. Watson has great speed, and that's the reason, among others, that he won the job away from Ryan Church as the National center fielder.
He is more of a leadoff hitter, and Church wasn't.
Although Church did a nice job for the Nationals last year, and he'll be back. But he was stunned that he did not win that center field job.
Well, and also, too, he'll work a little bit harder to get back. And Watson had his last 7 minor league seasons. He's only 24 years old. Has 163 stolen bases.
He hit .337 in the minors last year. Anderson not a fast man at first, and Watson trying to bunt again and bunts it foul. Now, he's not funny to sacrifice here, down by 2 runs in the 7th.
Makes me wonder. I seriously doubt it with the 2-run lead. It did not look like a drag bunt. And why would you want to bunt down the first base line when you got the first baseman holding the runner on? He's already in.
So Frank Robinson looking on, a little bit bemused in the Washington dugout, as though he were surprised that Watson had tried to bunt twice. You got Vidro and Guillen behind Watson. Heilman ahead on the count, 1-2. Watson takes inside. Aaron's struggling a little bit with his command here.
He might be a little juiced up. It's opening day, overthrowing, and he's the type of guy, he's got to stay within himself, much like Hernandez and Glavine. Hit the spots.
Last pitch, 93 miles an hour, the fastest pitch we've seen today. On 2-2, Watson takes just inside. He's backing away, and that ball almost tailed over the inside corner. 3-2.
Now the big question: do you send the runner at first, Anderson, on a 3-2 count? You're down 2 runs.
Heilman will strike people out.
Throws the changeup. A changeup is a good pitch to run on.
Not a big lead for Anderson. He's running. And it's lined into right field for a base hit. Anderson will turn second and go on to third. Nady will throw into second base. And the Nationals have first and third and nobody out.
Well, it's a changeup. Didn't get it away enough, and he got it up. Actually, it was a changeup. He's out in front a little bit. He got the ball up waist high. Not out enough.
So now the tying runs are on base with nobody out, and Heilman struggling a bit in his first outing of the season. Aaron was moved back to the bullpen about 10 days ago and only got in 3 appearances out of the pen in spring training. Here's Vidro with the tying runs aboard. Pulls it through the hole into right field, a base hit. That'll bring home Anderson from third. Watson stops at second. It's an RBI single for Jose Vidro. 3 straight hits against Heilman, and the Mets lead is trimmed to 3-2. Things not going well for Aaron Heilman.
Well, this is a fastball to watch the catcher's glove. See, it's supposed to be away, and it's down and in on the inner half. Seems to be a little bit overthrowing right now. You can see the backhand on the glove of LaDuca. He's got to come back across the middle, right down the pipe.
And so Rick Peterson's going to pay Heilman a visit. Aaron's command has seemed to be off right from his first pitch. And so the Mets are going to get the bullpen cranking as Duaner Sanchez begins to loosen up. The team, the time, the network, the sweepstakes. Sportsnet New York and the Mets have teamed up for a great sweepstakes. Log on to SNY.TV or Mets.com for your chance to throw out the first pitch before a game at Shea. So now Jose Guillen digs in against Aaron Heilman, who's given up 3 straight hits and a run. Tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first with nobody out. Guillen 1 out of 3. And Heilman misses inside. There's Watson, a fast man, the tying run at second. Vidra not nearly as fast at first.
I just always believe in guarding the lines in the 7th inning on with a tying or winning runners at the plate or on the base.
And again, Heilman misses inside with the fastball. And he's behind Guillen, a good hitter, 2-0. Remember, Guillen hit 24 home runs last year, and 21 of them were hit on the road.
And this is a very good pitch to hit.
Pedro Martinez looking on. He'll start on Thursday night in the final game of this series. The 2-0 to Guillen, hit to short, could be 2. Reyes to Hernandez, and on to first, double play. So Aaron Heilman gets a big double play. 2 out and a runner at third.
Well, he gets them right here. It's a routine ground ball, very sure-handed Jose Reyes, and now watch the young Anderson Hernandez make the pivot. He is really, I mean, that's a routine double play right there. And this is the pitch. His sinker got in on his hands. When you need that ground ball, go to that hard sinker. Good pitch.
So 2 out. The tying run, Watson now at third, and there you see the young double play combination for the Mets. Hernandez and Reyes. Here's Nick Johnson. And he takes just inside 1-0. Mets today starting 3 infielders, second, short, and third, all less than 24 years old. It's the second time in 40 years any team's done that on opening day. And they're good. Johnson takes a call strike, 1-1.
It's always a good time. There's David Wright, as you see right there, one of the youthful infielders.
1981 Braves had a second baseman, shortstop, and third baseman on opening day under 24. Johnson fouls it off. Glenn Hubbard, Rafael Ramirez, and a tremendous home run hitter named Bob Cohan. So now Heilman ahead in the count, 1-2 on Nick Johnson. And the capacity crowd here at Shea rising, hoping that Heilman, who has struggled here in the 7th, can keep the Mets in front. The tying run 90 feet away.
Well, he threw 2 fastballs to start him off inside and a changeup.
1-2. He throws off speed and gets the comebacker from Johnson. The underhand flip, and Heilman works his way through the top of the 7th. The Nationals get closer with a run on 3 hits. 7th inning stretch time at Shea, 3-2 New York. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at Shea Stadium. Some people work a lot harder than others getting themselves ready for the game. That face paint thing, how does that work exactly? Who does that?
To be honest with you,
do you think she does it herself, or you think somebody did it for her?
They look like boyfriend, girlfriend. They probably did each other.
Capacity crowd here at Shea Stadium. It's the opener of a 3-game series with the Nationals. Night games on Wednesday and Thursday. Pedro Martinez makes his first start Thursday after Brian Bannister makes his major league debut Wednesday night. And the weather has held up very nicely. We had some rain in the hour before the ball game, but since the ball game began, it's been just about what you'd like on opening day. Temperature in the mid-50s, a little bit of breeze, but it has stayed dry. As we take a look at the Hyundai in-game box score. The big days for the new guys.
Well, Loduca 2 for 3 with an RBI. Look at Xavier Nady, 3 for 3 with a run scored and an RBI double. And David Wright right now has the big bomb that is the difference in this ball game. Glavine 2 hits. How about that?
And 6 strong innings for Glavine on the mound, and Aaron Heilman able to minimize the damage in that top of the 7th to keep the Mets in the lead 3-2. And now the Nationals go to their bullpen and bring in the veteran right-hander Felix Rodriguez.
Well, a hard thrower always. Started out quick in his career, and then there's Mr. Met, Tom Seaver's favorite.
Watch out, he'll get the big head. Paul Lo Duca will lead off against Rodriguez, who pitched for the Yankees last year and did not pitch particularly well. He was in his heyday when he was with the Giants. He's a great setup man for Rob Nen. Lo Duca 2 out of 3, a single and a double, and he's driven in a run. 3-2 New York as we start the bottom of the 7th. And Lo Duca takes a strike. Paul Lo Duca, who grew up a Met fan in Arizona, talked about how he was jumping up and down on his bed just outside Phoenix when the Mets won the '86 World Series.
He's only human. We had that kind of appeal.
I was jumping too. 1-1 to Lo Duca. Joey Eishin now throwing in the Nationals bullpen with an eye toward Delgado, 2 batters away. One and 1 to Lo Duca. Popped up. In toward the mound comes Pedro. And that's the first down. So Lo Duca pops up, 1 out and nobody on. Carlos Beltran coming up. Here's how they'll match up for the next several games. Wednesday night, Ryan Bannister makes his big league debut against John Patterson, a tough right-hander. Pedro Martinez against his protege, guy who's always idolized Pedro, Ramon Ortiz. And then Friday night the Marlins come to town with Traxel against Jason Vargas. And there is Pedro. Here's Beltran, who's 0 for 3. Popped up twice and grounded out, and he takes outside from Felix Rodriguez. Beltran came up with 2nd and 3rd and 1 out in the 5th and popped up to short and very quickly heard the boo birds here at Shea. Hoping to get his season off to a good start. And Carlos takes a strike, 1-1. Here's Delgado on deck.
Rodriguez is a shadow of his former self. And looking at his fastball, this guy used to throw high 90s, and it's quite apparent on the screen that he's not anywhere near his old form.
Now 33 years old, and a strike to Beltran, 1-2.
He's one of those guys that used to just rear back and fire with the Giants. And one of those guys that can get away with a mistake over the middle because he threw so hard. Oh, there, hello. Nice number.
17.
Hey, what a guy. Nice hat.
That one goes all the way to the backstop. That hat goes with your coat.
Well, this one just gets away right here.
That's a mistake.
No, if you're going to make a mistake, it's okay to make a mistake out of the strike zone. Way out of the strike zone.
Well, the Mets took advantage of a big mistake by Felix Rodriguez in the National League Division Series in 2000. As Jay Payton got the base hit that drove in the winning run in the 10th inning in Game 2 of that series when the Mets were a game behind. Beltran fouls it off. Remember, the Mets had lost Game 1 and they were on the verge of winning Game 2 before J.T. Snow hit a 3-run homer against Armando Benitez to tie it. But then Darrell Hamilton doubled and Payton got the base hit off Rodriguez on a slider, which Rodriguez always regretted. And the Mets won that game.
What year was that?
2000.
I always felt that Bobby Valentine should have been manager of the year that year with that ball club he had.
Oh yeah, the last at bat of that game, John Franco striking out Barry Bonds, and Beltran fouls it off on a pitch that Barry still thinks was not a strike.
There it is.
Beat the Giants in the division series, took the Cardinals handily in the league championship series behind Mike Hampton. And there's that group.
Al Leiter, of course, part of that pitching staff.
2-2 to Beltran. And a call, strike 3. Beltran thought it was high. 2 out and nobody on. We mentioned Brian Bannister pitching on Wednesday night. Did some throwing here yesterday. A public workout here at Shea, which drew about 15,000 people. And Bannister, after doing his work, had his manager put his arm around him and Say, the next time you go to that mound, kid, it's for real. Two out and nobody on. Here's Carlos Delgado.
Well, Willie does such a great job communicating. I know it's an overused word, communication, but for lack of a better word, he does such a wonderful job communicating with his players. And he's a former player. He's a no-nonsense guy. It's tough love. It's almost like being a parent. Your kids go up and they make their own friends. They're the nice guys. If it's a parent, you got to have tough love. Willie demands a certain performance and work ethic from his players. If you do that, everything is fine.
I don't think there's any question that Willie got the absolute most out of his players last year.
They love playing for him.
Even after a playoff berth was out of reach, the way that team played in September, I think, was indicative of the fact that Willie had their attention. And they finished at 83 and 79, a 12-game improvement over the year before. Delgado takes outside. If they make a 12-game improvement this year, that was a strike for Delgado.
Well, he has a much better ball club than last year now, much better offense. Last year he had to manage for one-run games quite a bit. Now he can kind of let it go. This ball club is going to score runs. I don't think there's going to be that many tight ball games. Or there's going to be tight ball games, but not as much as we had last year.
And he's got a better bullpen to go to, which certainly helps. I mean, last year, once he got past Roberto Hernandez and Aaron Heilman, you had to cross your fingers and hope. This year, he's got a lot more weapons. It's Billy Wagner getting ready for his first save opportunity as a Met. Might come today. And
he already knows that this game is a goose egg up there by Heilman. He's in for the ninth.
2-2 to Delgado with 2 out and nobody on. 3-2 New York, bottom of the 7th, and Felix Rodriguez taking an eternity. Livan Hernandez went the first 6, allowed 3 runs and 8 hits, and he's on the hook. Threw 113 pitches in his 6 innings. Glavine also went 6. And he's pitcher of record on the long side. On 2-2, Delgado swings and hits it in the air to deep right field, down the line, gone if it stays fair, but it hooks foul. Tremendous shot by Delgado. Just got out in front.
Well, left-hand hitters love the ball down. And there's the ball. It just hooked. Around 20 feet foul.
You don't usually get souvenirs up there.
And here the catcher setting up away. Watch the ball come over the middle. Right down the pipe and low. Carlos just a little bit too quick. There's a guy with good hands.
33 home runs last year for Delgado, who has hit 30 or more 8 straight years.
This will be a better ballpark power-wise for him than Florida.
345 down the line there. 3-2 to Carlos. And especially the gaps are so tough in Florida.
And you got the humidity. As you see the positioning of the defense of Washington way up the middle. That's the proper way to defend Delgado.
You see the center fielder Watson straight away, or are you going to step to left?
He should be over in the gap a little more to right center.
On 3-2, Delgado bounces one foul. Well, we have seen Carlos go to left field with 2 strikes.
2 strikes, and also RBI situations where a single gets the RBI. That's one thing that Carlos has as you look at David Wright in the on-deck circle, is the ability to sacrifice his power late in the game when a base hit beats somebody or ties the game. He can do that. And that's whereas you're the opposing team, defensively you'd be more inclined to play him straight up.
Watson now maybe even another stride toward left center. Delgado 0 for 3 on the day. And he lays off, and it's outside, ball 4. So a 2-out walk for Delgado and another chance for Wright, who last time up hit his first home run and the Mets' first home run of the season.
Well, I think Met fans out there can see this lineup as you look at the defense. Pretty much straight away for David. It's a pretty formidable lineup in the middle with left, right, left, right.
Wind blowing in from right a little more than it was his last at bat. And a slider swung and missed because Wright went the other way with authority.
And that was a fastball up and over the plate. A mistake by Livan. Doesn't make that many. David was set up going that way and hit the cripple pitch, as we say in baseball.
Cripple pitch is supposed to come on 3-0, not on 0-2.
A cripple pitch is someone that is a mistake. You jump on those cripples. This is war. No sympathy.
The 0-1 to right. Broken bat looper to shallow right, and that'll fall in for a base hit. Shards of bat all over the infield, and Wright has his second hit as Delgado stops at second.
Well, David going looking away here again. Stays in. Look at that. Very nice. Nice level swing. Good pitch. Breaking ball knee high outside corner.
And Frank Robinson on his way out to the mound. He wants the left-hander Joey Eishin to come on and face Cliff Floyd with 2 out and 2 on, and that's a move that Frank made often last year to get Eishin in there against Floyd. Didn't bring him in to face Delgado with 2 out and nobody on, but he makes the move here. Bottom of the 7th, Mets with a 3-2 lead, and Eishin coming on to pitch, replacing Rodriguez. 3-2 New York as the Nationals make a pitching change here in the 7th. Our broadcast partner this year is the WB11, and it's worth noting on a day when the stands and the parking lots are filled that now the most advanced traffic information is just a click away with WB11.com's CommuterCast. Get real-time traffic updates on your computer every weekday afternoon at 4. Log on to WB11.com for CommuterCast. 35-year-old Joey Eishin, a more slender Joey Eishin, coming on to pitch to Cliff Floyd with 2 out and 2 on. Mets looking to expand on a 3-2 lead. Delgado not a fast man at second. And Wright the runner at first. Floyd 0 for 2 and a walk. Scored a run back in the 4th. Eishin with that Mussina-esque bow. And gets the breaking ball over to Floyd.
Well, Eishin is a left-handed specialist. You look at Cliff against career numbers against Eishin.
6 punch-outs and 11 at-bats. Eishin dropped 17 pounds since last season. Floyd takes on. He said he did it because his wife decided to become a professional bodybuilder and he didn't want to be embarrassed. So he worked out with her and lost 17 pounds.
Competition's a good thing, isn't it?
1-1 to Floyd, who struggled against lefties last year, but hit a bunch of home runs early in the season against them. Another breaking ball, and Eishin finds the outside edge. That's a nasty pitch.
Tell you what, he led Cliff off with a slider knee high outside corner. Came with an up and in fastball, then comes back with this slider right to the glove. And that's a strike on the corners.
So now Eishin ahead of the count, 1-2. 2 out and 2 on. 3-2 New York, 7th inning. And Floyd, tough swing on the breaking ball, and Zimmerman takes it to the bag for the force play that retires the side. So Eishin did a number on Floyd. The Mets get a hit and a walk, but leave 2. We go to the 8th now at Shea. Mets 3, Nationals 2.
Day in New York update. It's Phillies and Cardinals at Citizens Bank Park, and it's Jim Edmonds facing John Lieber. Edmonds wins this battle into the corner, driving in Albert Pujols. Jimmy Rollins, by the way, 0 for 1, trying to extend that 36-game hit streak he started last year. Mets baseball continues now on Sportsnet New York.
Alfonso Soriano leads off against Aaron Heilman in the 8th inning. Cardinals have a run. They've got Chris Carpenter on the mound. That's about all they need.
I agree. And you see the defense here. I'd like to see a little more protection on the lines here, on the corners with the first and third. Prevent the double. particularly a leadoff double.
Soriano gets one just over the glove of Wright and into left field for a base hit. Didn't hit it hard, but just tall enough so that Wright couldn't reach it, and Soriano has his second hit of the game.
Well, it's a broken bat here. Looks like not hit hard. Just out of the reach of David Wright.
If he was Scott Rowland, he would have caught it. But Scott's about 6 inches taller.
Now you got a potential base running threat on first base.
So now the tying run aboard. Soriano already has a stolen base today. Zimmerman the batter. He lines one down the left field line, and that's a base hit going to the corner. Soriano can fly. He's on his way to third. Floyd digs it out. Soriano being waved around by Tony Beasley. Reyes' relay throw. He is out at the plate. Two great throws by Floyd and Reyes. Tony Beasley, the new third base coach for the Nationals, sending Soriano with nobody out, and Reyes gunned him down.
Well, this ball's ripped into the corner here, and two beautiful relays here. Floyd plays it perfectly, hits the cutoff man. Reyes with the strong arm. One hop to plate. Great block by LaDuca. Just, these are the things that win ball games. The on-deck circle guy did not get the bat out of the way for his base runner. Neither. What a play all the way. Oh, he dropped the ball. Umpire didn't see it.
Got the call. That was the first base umpire, Tim Cheetah, who came down to make it. Broken bat grounded to short by Clayton. The runner will advance, but Reyes throws out Clayton for the second out. 2 away.
I'm wondering if Alfonso Soriano ever got home, touched home. The plate was just blocked. He never touched it. And that's why he's out, even though the umpire is still calling him out right now.
Should have had to tag him a second time.
Let's see if he got a hand in.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did. It's tough.
He hit the shin guard.
But he's not out right now.
No, he needs to tag him again to be out.
But that's a tough play for the umpire here. He's blocked. He did not. Oh, he got home. He was safe. That left hand got in. Oh, my goodness. I am surprised that Frank Robinson didn't go out there and have a beef.
Meanwhile, the barrel of that broken bat that Royce Clayton just hit wound up in the stands, and they're making sure everybody's okay from that, just to the left of home plate.
So fundamentals, that's why you work on them in spring training, and this could be the difference in this ball game. That relay, those two relays.
Here's Schneider, tying run at 3rd and 2 out, and Heilman gets the changeup over. So on a day when Aaron Heilman has been very hittable, he gave up a run in the 7th, but got through it thanks to a double play ball. And here, with some great defense behind him, as Duaner Sanchez gets ready in the Mets bullpen. And Schneider takes the fastball in tight, 1-1.
5 hits given up in an inning and 2/3 by Heilman. Just hasn't been sharp with his control.
And Schneider takes high. 2-1. There's Darrell Ward, big slugging left-hand batter, out on deck to pinch hit for Joey Eischen. Mets 3, Nationals 2, top of the 8th. Heilman trying to hang on. On 2-1, Schneider lofts one foul, 2-2.
And everything's up in the strike zone right now with Aaron. He's very inconsistent with his location.
The crowd on its feet here at Shea, hoping that Heilman can negotiate this 8th inning. Floyd, Reyes, and LaDuca have already bailed him out once. The tying runs at 3rd. 2-2 to Schneider. Swing and a miss. He threw the bat at the changeup, and Heilman works out of the jam in the top of the 8th inning. Big strikeout for Aaron Heilman to seal the deal in the 8th. After Soriano is gunned down at the plate by Reyes as LaDuca put on the block. 3-2 New York. We go to the last of the 8th inning. Mets looking for some insurance. Gary Majeski comes out of the bullpen to pitch for Washington. Here's a look at that key play in the top of the 8th.
Number 1, Clayton in the on-deck circle does not get the bat out of the way. It's his job to do that. And Tim Cheetah, the umpire, he's behind the plate. he's going to get blocked. The play's going to be in front. He should have either been up the line a little more towards third base to get a better view.
Xavier Nady. Now remember that Cheetah's the first base umpire. The third base umpire went down the line to look at the play in the corner.
Exactly.
The home plate umpire, Rick Reed, went to cover third, and so Cheetah came down from first base to call the play at the plate. As Nady hits one down the right field line, slicing toward the corner. That's an extra base hit. It hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Xavier Nady is 4 for 4 in his Mets debut.
And more impressively, going the other way. That is beautiful, and that's what he needs to do. He tends to pull too much, particularly against right-handers. He does that, he'll hit.
It was only 4 or 5 days ago that Xavier Nady was in a 1 for 28 spring training slump. But remember, he busted out with those 3 hits going the other way. And now 4 for 4 on opening day as Billy Wagner getting set for his first save opportunity as a Met. Anderson Hernandez will be the batter, and the Nationals will look to the sacrifice.
Absolutely. You see the defense set up there. Let's see what kind of play they put on here. Try to get the lead runner.
And Majeski misses outside.
You've got to bunt to the third base line, force the third baseman to field the bunt, which vacates the third base. Now they could put the wheel on, or they race the shortstop over to third.
Hernandez offered at that one. It was off the plate, but he did offer at it 1-1. Willie Franco has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter for Aaron Heilman, who staggered his way through 2 innings but kept the Mets in the lead.
So the wheel play will show you right after this pitch.
Bunted foul by Hernandez. Now it's 1-2.
It's moot now with his 2 strikes.
Now he's just going to try and pull the ball to the right side.
So shortstop comes in, fakes, then goes this way. Everybody comes in hard. The second baseman covers first. Try to lead out.
And hitters sometimes will be told if they see that shortstop break to swing away. Try and hit it up the middle. 1-2 now to Anderson Hernandez. He's bunting and he fouls it off, strike 3. Well, Willie Randolph needs to find out about Anderson Hernandez early in the season, what he can and can't do, and he asked him to lay down a bunt and he couldn't get it done.
I wonder if he did. There was a missed sign here. Look at the catcher, wants a high strike, something to pop up. So Anderson doesn't do the job here, and these are the little things that win a ball game.
And now Julio Franco will make his Mets debut. His 29th year in professional baseball. He's 47 years old. And he has been raking during spring training. Mets had enough trouble getting Franco out when he was a member of the Atlanta Braves. Now he's on their side. Runner at second and 1 out. And in the dirt and stopped on a hop by Schneider. Julio Franco among active leaders is 4th, but remember he was out of Major League Baseball for 4 or 5 years, playing in Korea and playing in Mexico. Couldn't get a job until 2001 when the Braves brought him in, and he's been very productive over the last 5 years. And he breaks his bat, hits it to short. Clayton holds the runner and gets the out as the barrel of yet another bat flies into the stands. So Nady remains at second with 2 down. And that's the direction where the bat went.
Well, it's a fastball in. Catcher sets up in. Fastball runs in and just beats. Good swing by Franco. Just beat him. Just got beat a little bit. Enough to keep it off the barrel of the bat.
So now after the leadoff double by Nady, he's still at second with 2 down as Wagner is about set to enter. Sandman. Here's Reyes grinding one to second. So Majeski does a nice job after the leadoff double as Hernandez couldn't get the bunt down, and so it's a 1-run lead that the Mets will hand off to Billy Wagner for his first save attempt as a Met. 3-2 New York as we go to the 9th inning on opening day at Shea. Moments ago, Billy Wagner, to the strains of the same tune that Mariano Rivera uses in his entrances, Enter Sandman. Wagner, making his debut as a Met, always runs in from the bullpen. And the triple-digit throwing left-hander, who has been battling a finger injury during spring training, will try and nail it down in the ninth.
Well, there he is. There's his numbers from last year. Look at that ERA. Look at the strikeouts, the innings pitched. Look at the hits. My goodness.
Well, this is where the Mets hope to make a difference in 2006. Last year on opening day, they carried a 2-run lead into the ninth inning in Cincinnati. Adam Dunn hit a 2-run homer. Joe Randa followed with a solo shot. Braden Looper never retired a batter, and the Mets lost a heartbreaker on opening day. Now Wagner being entrusted to do better. 38 saves last year. He's had as many as 44 in a big league season. 284 saves in his brilliant career. Marlon Byrd will lead off, pinch hitting for the Nationals as we go to the ninth. 3-2 New York.
Now the Mets are guarding the lines here in the ninth, so I gotta believe this is Willie Randolph's philosophy.
And Byrd takes a strike at the knees from Billy Wagner. Now remember that Wagner missed more than 2 weeks right at the end of spring training, and finally came back on Saturday, just 2 days ago, against the Cardinals to get an inning of work in. And that fastball fouled off. The first one was at 92. That was a warm-up. That one had a little more giddy up at 95.
That one had some serious hump on it.
The crowd already rocking and rolling for Wagner. 0-2 to Byrd. Slider just missed.
I tell you what, pretty good slider too. A nice try. 0-2. Good eye by Byrd to lay off.
Billy started throwing that slider a lot more last season with the Phillies. He was hurt his first year in Philadelphia, not last year. Slider a little bit low. Of course, Byrd was his teammate in Philadelphia 2 years ago and for part of last year before he was traded to Washington.
I guess he's going to come with a gas right now.
With 2 sliders in a row. Now the 2-2. Just missed inside with a fastball. It's 3-2. Wagner last year walked only 20 batters in 77 innings. 20 walks and 87 strikeouts. Stands only 5'10", but he can hum it. 3-2 to Byrd. Pulled to third. Wright playing the line, has to move to his left and throws out Byrd for the first out.
Well, no easy play for Wright here. This ball's hit hard. Beautiful play by Wright. Sure-handed, and the nice throw to first.
Time for the AOL game summary. Xavier Nady in his Mets debut, 4 for 4. Paul LaDuca with a single, double, and RBI in his first game as a Met, and David Wright with a home run. Want a better high-speed internet? You belong at AOL. Now Matt Lecroy will bat for Brandon Watson. Strong right-handed batter. And Wagner throws a slider for a strike. Lecroy, who spent his entire career in the American League, let go by the Twins and signed by the Nationals. He can hit home runs. Wagner's 0-1, and he throws it by him. Low and in, 0-2.
I think he slightly threw it by him. This is down and in, and it's just like he'd be yelling at the bench, dial it up a notch.
So for the second straight hitter, Wagner gets ahead 0-2, and again the crowd starts roaring, looking for the strikeout. Oh, the inside corner, strike 3 called. He got Lecroy looking at the slider. 2 out and nobody on.
Right to the glove. Watch this. Aggressive call right there by LaDuca. Right on the inside corner.
So the Nationals down to their final out as Wagner tries to put on the finishing touches for Tom Glavine on opening day. Jose Vidro 2 out of 4, and he takes inside. 1-0 to Vidro. Paid crowd of 54,371, the largest ever for a Mets opener. Vidro tries to hold up, he went around. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Tough to lay off right there. Your club's down a run, 2 outs. You're ahead 1-0, looking for a fastball to try to hit deep. He throws you a hard slider down and in.
2 out and nobody on. 3-2 New York, top of the ninth. 1-1 to Vidro. This is away.
So we're seeing right now with the new faces in the Mets, I like the game that LaDuca calls back there. He calls a very aggressive game inside. That's very much what Gary Carter did. I thought Gary Carter called a great game. Fastball in.
On 2-1. He throws the slider and he gets the inside corner. 2-2.
Fastball right on the corner. Might have got a little give there. It was close. That was a borderline pitch right there.
So the Nationals down to their final strike. It's 2-2 to Jose Vidro. Lifted foul down the left field line. That'll settle into the crowd. To Vidro. Wagner delivers. Line toward the gap in left center field. That's a base hit for Vidro. Beltran cuts it off. Vidro trying for two. The throw by Beltran. The slide. Out, and the ball game is over. Carlos Beltran guns down Jose Vidro, trying to stretch a single into a double. That's the final out of the game. Billy Wagner saves it, and the Mets have a one-run victory for Tom Glavine on opening day. Well, that's a way to end it.
Defense, defense, defense has won this ball game today for the Mets. Two fine plays in the field at critical points in the game. Just a perfect throw by Beltran, one hop, and there's the reaction of Willie Randolph. Fundamentals, defense.
Floyd and Reyes combined to get Soriano at the plate in the 8th. And Beltran guns down Vidro, trying to get that tying run to scoring position in the 9th. Billy Wagner saves it. Paul LaDuca has a big day with 2 hits and that great block of the plate. Wagner picks up the save. Xavier Nady played a big role in his first game as a Met, going 4 for 4. And the Mets win it on opening day. They're now 28-17, the best record ever in the National League on opening day. Once again, our final score this afternoon on opening day at Shea, the Mets 3 and the Nationals 2. Join us for our next Mets broadcast Wednesday night at 7 p.m. as the Mets meet the Nationals.